Hello, this is your host, Adam Graham. This compilation collects 4 episodes that address the war in unique ways. On their face, they couldn't be more different. The first 3 contained several serialized episodes of The Adventures of Superman, a juvenile adventure series. The 4th is an episode of the Columbia Workshop, one of the most prestigious radio programs of the time, written by one of the greatest radio writers of them all, Norman Corwin. However, both attempted to address the war in creative ways even before the United States officially joined it. Now, from 2013, here are the next 4 episodes of the war. Welcome to the war. This is your host, Adam Graham. Send your comments to box13 at greatdetectives.net. As 1941 came, the United States put its neutrality status at risk, taking several steps to help the Allies, shy of actually getting into the conflict themselves. Many could sense the coming of war. Several movies from the era began to talk about fifth columnists, spies, and have thinly veiled Axis villains. Yet I have to admit, the number of instances I've found on radio of radio programs challenging the Nazis in fiction. Well, someone had to do it, and as it turned out, it was a job for Superman. Superman had come to radio in 1940. There had been a pilot episode written in late 1939 with a lot of intrigue and international suspense involved. But the network refused to air it, saying that it was completely inappropriate as we were a nation trying to stay neutral in the war. In other mediums, despite Superman's first major story being just a total anti-war story, Superman began to battle thinly veiled and not so thinly veiled Nazis, such as in one 1939 comic strip story where Superman battled thinly veiled Germans who were trying to get the United States into a war with the thinly veiled Britain. In a December 1940 issue of Look magazine, the editors asked Superman's creators, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, to draw a comic on how Superman would end the war, which they did in 2 pages, which involved capturing Hitler and Stalin, who was then in a non-aggression pact with Hitler, and dragging him to the League of Nations. Unfortunately, real life wasn't quite that simple. Though at the time this radio show was broadcast, the Germans were already preparing to invade Russia, which would lead to Russia ultimately entering the war on the side of the Allies. Now we turn to the first relevant Superman radio drama involving a more thickly disguised Axis agent than in the next serial. This story begins with the Nitrate shipment part 4. The first 3 parts of the Nitrate shipment were actually more mop-up from the previous serial, so you don't really have to know a whole lot about it. All we have to know at this point is that after their clipper ship, which was the last of the clipper ship, was lost, Clark Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and Pug Flanagan, a stowaway from the clipper ship, are sailing back to Metropolis. There was some hijinks about a treasure map, but that's really all been dealt with. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and take a listen to the Nitrate Shipment, Parts 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Trouble seems to follow the old treasure map that Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and young Pug Flanagan found on the ill-fated clipper ship, the Clara N. First, it was Teak Barnaby, a peg-legged sailor who wanted the map. Then it was Carlos, a murderous half-breed. Now, another strange and mysterious thing has happened. Just as the boat on which they were taking passage from Panama to the United States was about to sail, Kent received a message. A message that read, wait. Jimmy, Pug, and Kent are about to have breakfast in the ship's dining room. Let's join them.
Pug, what'll it be? Bacon and eggs?
Yeah, that suits me.
Good. And how about you, Jimmy?
Oh, I'm not very hungry, Mr. Kent.
Ah, Jim, you mustn't worry about that note I received. A lot of silly nonsense.
What did it say again?
Oh, just something about not sailing on this ship.
It said, don't sail on this ship if you value your life. That sounds pretty serious. Sure.
Now, it's just as I told you. Carlos probably sent it in order to lure us back on land so that he could get the map. But whatever it is, we've sailed, so too late. In another hour, Panama will be far behind us. Now, come on, how about a couple of fried eggs, Jimmy, and a rasher of crisp bacon, huh?
Well, okay.
That's the boy. How about you, Pug? Bacon and eggs all you want?
Me? I'm hungrier than I thought. I think I'll have a... Hey, Mr. Kent.
Huh?
What's that under your plate?
What? Under my plate?
It's an envelope.
Oh, that's funny. Oh. I wonder.
Open it, quick.
Now, take it easy, Jimmy. Take it easy.
What's it say?
Just one word.
What?
Beware.
Hey, this ain't no joke. You see, Mr. Kent, I told you.
Now, calm down, both of you. Act as though nothing had happened.
I ain't that good an actor. What are we going to do?
Just sit tight for the moment. Whoever's responsible for this note is on board the ship. Now, you order breakfast just as though everything were perfectly normal. I'm going to have a talk with the captain. I'll be back shortly.
Come in.
Captain Estero?
Si, senor. What can I do for you?
My name is Kent, Captain. Clark Kent. I'm a reporter on the Metropolis Daily Planet, one of our leading American newspapers.
Oh, si, I've heard of the Daily Planet, senor King.
I thought as much. Captain Estero, what I came to talk to you about may seem a little strange.
Oh, I'm afraid I do not understand what you mean, senor.
Well, as you probably know, I took passage from Panama with two young boys.
Si?
Well, a few minutes before the ship sailed, I received this note. Here, read it.
Tell me, who delivered this note to you, senor?
A messenger. But that's not all. I found this under my plate at the breakfast table. There's nothing on it but the one word. Beware.
Yes, I see.
Can you explain these warnings, Captain?
Well, being a newspaperman, senor Kane, you know that these are very trying times. I need hardly remind you that most of the world is at war. It's best not to ask too many questions.
Well, Captain, if sailing on this ship involves some danger, I should know about it. I'm responsible for two youngsters.
I understand, but I do not think there is any danger.
Well, then why the notes of warning? Who sent them to me?
That, I'm afraid, I cannot answer.
But you know who's on board. You know the passenger list.
Well, this is a very small passenger list. This trip, senor, we are carrying cargo.
What sort of cargo?
I have told you, Senor Kent, under the circumstances, it is best not to ask too many questions. That is all.
But, Captain,
I'm sorry, but I must leave you now. I must go up to the bridge. You will have to pardon me.
All right, I'll leave. But I want you to remember that I'm an American citizen. And so are the two boys with me.
Si, senor.
I wonder what's behind all this. They didn't seem particularly surprised at the nature of those messages. Might as well stop over at the purser's office and find out just who's on board. In case anything does happen, I'd like to know with whom I have to deal. In the meantime, I don't want to alarm the boys.
Mr. Kent's been gone for 20 minutes, Pug. Breakfast is ice cold. Don't worry about him. Why don't you eat? Oh, I'm not very hungry. Oh, here he comes.
Sorry I took so long. Oh, Jimmy, you haven't touched your egg.
Oh, I was waiting for you. What happened?
Not a thing. Captain agrees with me that it's just a gag.
Gag?
Mm-hmm.
Who would be pulling a gag on us? Yeah, bunk him. This ain't no gag. Mr. Kent, this is a plot.
What kind of a plot, Pug?
I don't know, but it's a plot.
You've got a very vivid imagination, Pug. It's running away with you. Now, how about finishing breakfast, and then we'll go up on deck and play some shuffleboard, eh?
Yeah, that's a sissy game. I want to steer the ship.
Well, I'm sure the captain would greet that suggestion with cheers.
Oh, did you see the captain, Mr. Kent?
Uh-huh. Didn't I tell you I saw him?
Yes, but I have a feeling you're hiding something.
Jimmy, you're worse than Pug.
And the way you've been staring at the other passengers here in the dining room.
I'm just interested in knowing who our shipmates are during this trip.
Then why don't we go over and introduce ourselves to them and find out who they are?
I don't need to, Pug. I was just talking with the purser about them.
Say, you mean you think one of those other passengers sent you those notes?
Oh, of course not, Jimmy. I told you that was just a gag.
Hey, look at those two dark men with the black hair.
Huh?
They look suspicious.
Oh, don't be silly, Pug. They're a couple of coffee growers from Brazil.
What about that gray-haired man there? And the girl with him?
Well, he's a doctor, I understand, and a very capable one, too. The girl there with him is his daughter. Rather nice looking, isn't she?
Gee, Mr. Kent, that old dame over there in the corner in the black dress looks like she's 100 years old, don't she? But she's a cranky old maid, too.
No. That's no way to talk about her, Pug. She's probably very nice.
Only 5 others besides us. You wouldn't think it paid to run the boat for 8 passengers, would you?
Well, it's carrying cargo.
What kind of cargo?
The captain refused to... just general cargo.
I know just what you mean, Mr. Kent.
Well, come on, let's all get up on deck, shall we? It's swell morning.
I'm going to our cabin for a while. Yeah, me too.
Well, all right. I'll meet you on deck. Make it snappy now. I'll wait for you near the shuffleboard for you.
Okay. There's something fishy around here, Jim. That's what I think. Mr. Kent's holding something back. He doesn't usually do that with me, so it must be important. Is this our cabin? Yeah. Hey, Jim, what do you think it is that's worrying Mr. Kent? I don't know. But it must have something to do with the cargo. He let slip that the captain wouldn't tell him what it was. We can find out easy enough. How? Sit down and look. Ain't no trick in that. You mean sneak down into the hold? Sure. But that wouldn't be right. Why not? We ain't gonna steal nothing. I suppose we could just take a look. Yeah, that's all. Just a look. Come on, before Mr. Kent comes after us. Do you know the way to the hold? We'll find out. Leave it to me. It's a big ship. If we get lost, Pug. We ain't gonna get lost. Just follow me. I'm used to finding things. Be as far down as we can get, Pug. Yeah. That's the door up ahead. The door to what? To the cargo hold. Hey, wait a minute. What's up? I thought I heard something. We gotta get this iron door open. Help me lift the latch, but take it easy. No, it don't slide. It lifts up. Yeah, that's it. Now we got it. Nobody heard us. Nah. Come on, we gotta get the door open. Now pull. There. Okay. Slip inside. It's dark in there, Pug. Yeah. I got a flash. I bought it from the cabin. Pull the door shut. But easy. Easy, Jimmy. Now what? Wait till I switch the flash on. There. What? Nothing but sacks of sugar in here. Sugar? That can't be. Come on, we'll take a look.
Wait a minute, Pug.
What's the matter?
I hear footsteps.
Yeah, you're right. Tuck down behind these sacks, quick.
Right outside the door, Pug. Think he's coming in?
If he does, don't move.
Pug, he's locking us in.
That's what it sounded like.
That's what it is. He's gone away. We're trapped in here.
Let's try the door. Come on. Come on, shove.
She's locked, all right. We better start banging.
That won't do us no good. Not unless somebody's passing.
We can't stay down here forever, Pug. Come on, let's start pounding on the door.
No, wait. Before we do that, let's see what's in them sacks. That's what we come down here for, ain't it?
Yes, but
What do we gotta lose? Here, grab the end of this sack. We yank it out of the pile and rip her open. Okay, pull. Come on.
Pug, look out, they're falling on top of you. Oh. Pug, where are you? Pug! He's buried under the sacks. I gotta get him out. Pug! Pug, answer me! Oh, I can't move these sacks fast enough. They're too heavy. I need help. Help! Help! Open this door! Help! Help!
Will anyone hear Jimmy's cries for help in time to rescue Pug? Once again, the boys have gotten themselves into trouble, and it looks like just the beginning. But don't forget to tune in next time and follow the thrilling story of Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman. Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine, presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. In our last episode, we learned how Kent, on board a steamship sailing from Panama to the United States, received two mysterious messages warning him of danger to come. Jimmy Olsen and Pug Flanagan, Kent's companions on the voyage, decided it was time to investigate the ship's cargo. In the darkness of the forward hold, they found what seemed like sacks of sugar piled almost to the ceiling. Just then, a passing deckhand, noticing that the iron door to the hold was ajar, slammed it shut and threw the latch, locking the boys in. For a moment, Jimmy and Pug were stunned, but decided to find out what was in the sacks before calling for help. However, in attempting to remove one of them, the pile was dislodged and came tumbling down. Listen.
Pug, look out, they're falling on top of you. Oh. Pug. Pug, where are you? Pug! He's buried under the sacks. I gotta get him out. Pug! Pug, answer me! I can't move these sacks fast enough. They're too heavy. I need help. Help! Help! Open this door! Help! Help!
Bruising his knuckles against the heavy iron door, Jimmy valiantly tries to summon help to free Pug from beneath an avalanche of heavy sacks. Meanwhile, 3 decks above, well out of earshot, Clark Kent waits for the boys at the shuffleboard court as the ship clears the harbor and heads for the open sea.
I wonder what's keeping Jimmy and Pug. Think they'd be interested in seeing the boat pull out of the harbor. Well, maybe I'd better go down and get them. Well, here comes one of our passengers. The young lady we saw in the dining room. Good morning.
It's much more than just a good morning. It's a wonderful morning. Aren't you the gentleman traveling with the 2 boys?
Uh-huh. My name's Clark Kent.
How do you do? I'm June Barrington.
How do you do?
You've probably heard of my father.
Not Dr. Michael Barrington, the surgeon?
That's right.
Oh, then you're English.
Right again. Dad and I have been in Africa organizing hospital units for the army.
Oh, that's so.
We're going back home now, and everyone's decided this was the safest route.
Mm-hmm. Ordinarily it would be, but I think you and your father should know that queer things have been happening aboard this ship.
What do you mean, Mr. King?
Oh, now, don't misunderstand. It may not be serious at all, but Oh, you know, being a newspaper man, I'm always suspicious.
Now you have me gasping with suspense. What is it that's happened?
Well, since boarding the ship, I've received 2 warning notes. One by messenger that said not to sail, and one under my breakfast plate that said, beware. I've already spoken to the captain about it, but got nowhere.
That's very strange.
Of course, as you probably know, there are only 8 passengers on board. You, your father, 3 of us, 2 coffee merchants, and an elderly woman.
That is rather unusual, isn't it?
Well, we're carrying a large cargo. A cargo the nature of which the captain refuses to reveal.
You think perhaps it's contraband, Mr. Kent?
Well, I can't say, but I'd like very much to know.
Couldn't we find out somehow?
Don't say anything. Here comes a sailor.
Don't you just love traveling by boat, Mr. Kent?
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. There's nothing like it, Miss Barrington.
I guess you'd say so. As I was saying, couldn't we find out what the cargo is?
Only by going down into the hold.
Well, then why don't we? Come on, yes.
Well, Jimmy and Pug are supposed to meet me here at the shuffleboard court.
Oh, it won't take long. Come on.
All right. If the captain ever finds out, he's not going to like it much. I imagine this corridor leads to the forward hold.
Oh, I'm just quivering with excitement.
That iron door up ahead is the one we want.
Wouldn't it be funny if the cargo was
Wait a
just...
minute.
What's the matter?
I thought I heard a muffled cry. Listen.
Yes, I heard it.
It's coming from behind that iron door. Someone's locked in there. Quick! Oh, lucky there's only a latch on it. Stand back, Miss Barrington. Jimmy!
Oh, one of your boys.
Well, Jimmy, what happened? What are you doing here?
Pug. He's under the sack.
What?
They fell on him.
Miss Barrington.
Yes?
Take him to my cabin. It's 22 on C deck. At once, please. Have your father look him over, will you? I'll get the other one. Can you walk, Jimmy?
I think so. Find Pug.
Yes, sure. Don't worry. I'll find him now. Don't you worry. Go ahead.
That's it, Jimmy. Just take it easy. We'll manage.
Oh, I had to get her out of the way because this looks like a job for Superman. Pug buried under those sacks. No time to wait. I'll have him free in a moment. This stuff isn't light. Jimmy probably tried to move it, but couldn't. There we are. There he is. Now to lift him out. Carefully. Yeah, that does it. Oh, the poor kitty's out cold. But alive, thank goodness. The lucky thing that girl brought me down here. Another few minutes might have told a different story. I'll carry him up to the cabin as Clark Kent and her father examine him.
Are they all right, Father?
Yes, nothing serious, June.
Jimmy's knuckles are bruised and he's exhausted, but he'll pull through.
What about Pug? Is that his name?
You found him just in time. He might have suffocated if he'd been down there much longer.
Well, I can thank you for that, Miss Barrington.
But we never did find out what the cargo is.
Well, yes, we did. You see, I broke open one of the sacks. I have a sample wrapped in this piece of paper. There we are. What does it look like, Dr. Barrington?
Nitrate.
Mm-hmm. That was my guess.
What's nitrate?
A substance used in the manufacture of explosives.
So that's what this ship was carrying. That's why there are only 8 passengers on board.
In the light of this discovery, Mr. Kent, the 2 warning messages you received take on new meaning, I should say.
Oh, why should I be the only one to receive warning?
Yes. Why?
You say there are 8 passengers?
Mm-hmm. You and your daughter, Jimmy, Pug, and myself, 2 coffee merchants, and an elderly lady.
Has it occurred to you, Mr. Kent, that you and the 2 boys are probably the only Americans on this ship?
Well, that's no doubt true, but
And being Americans, you were the only ones warned to get off?
Do you mean that something's going to happen to the ship, Father?
Rather looks like that.
Hadn't we better tell the captain?
Oh, he knows we're carrying nitrate, Miss Barrington. He also knows about the messages of warning.
But if we're in danger...
We've been in danger before,
Yes,
June.
I know, but...
Come in. What? Jimmy, I thought you were supposed to rest.
I'm okay now, Mr. Kent. I wanted to find out what was happening.
Jimmy, this is Miss Barrington, Dr. Barrington's daughter.
We introduced ourselves coming up from the hold, didn't we, Jimmy?
Yes. What's cooking, Mr. Kent? What was in those sacks?
Nitrate, Jimmy. Something used to make explosives.
Wow.
That's nothing to get excited about.
Oh, Miss Barrington looks excited, and so do you. Oh, what are we going to do?
A very sensible question, Jimmy.
Have you any suggestions, Dr. Barrington?
Nothing very constructive, I'm afraid. I suppose we could hold a meeting of the passengers on board and apprise them of the situation.
Well, there are only 3 besides ourselves. The 2 coffee men and the old lady.
Well, I think they should know.
Yeah, all right. I'll get the 2 men. Miss Barrington, suppose you and Jimmy locate and escort the little old lady to this cabin, will you? I believe the purser said she's in C-33.
Right you are. Come on, Jimmy.
And try not to let any of the crew know what's brewing.
Don't worry, we won't.
That's 6 bells, isn't it, Jimmy?
Yes. All is not so well.
What captain did we discover our little old lady was occupying?
You mean the cabin?
Yes.
Number 33, right here on C deck. Must be at the end of this corridor.
Oh, I hope she can stand the shock of learning there are tons of nitrate right under her.
Oh, here's number 33.
Shall I knock?
I guess so. No. Wait.
What is it?
Put your ear close to the door.
All right.
Hear anything?
Sounds like a bird chirping.
No. It's a wireless key. Someone's sending a message.
What do you mean?
I know Morse code. I learned it from Sparks on the Clara M. Maybe I can follow it. It stopped.
I think you're just imagining things, Jimmy. What would a little old lady be doing sending wireless messages?
I don't know, but I'm sure I heard... There it is again.
It's a bird, Jimmy.
No, listen. This is what it says. Our position, midnight, 150 miles due north of Cologne. Everything in readiness. We'll contact you again hourly to report on progress.
The mystery seems to be thickening. Can Jimmy be right? Is the little old lady in stateroom 33 sending a wireless message? Don't forget to tune in next time for another thrilling episode with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman!
Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice. Things are happening thick and fast aboard the steamship carrying Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and Pug Flanagan from Panama to the United States. To begin with, Kent received 2 mysterious messages warning him of danger aboard the ship. Then Jimmy and Pug discovered the ship's cargo was nitrate, a substance used in the manufacture of explosives. Our story continues today. Kent has decided to call a meeting of the 8 passengers on board. He's gone to summon the 2 Brazilian coffee merchants while Jimmy, accompanied by June Barrington, an English girl, are on their way to invite one of the passengers, an elderly woman, to the meeting. Listen.
This is the cabin, number 33.
Shall I knock?
I guess so. No. Wait a minute.
What's the matter?
Put your ear close to the door.
All right. Listen. Sounds like a bird chirping.
No. It's Morse code. Someone in that cabin is sending a wireless message.
Oh, Jimmy, how fantastic. What would an old lady be doing
Maybe I can understand it. I know some Morse code.
Well?
I'm getting it. Ship will be 150 miles north of Cologne at midnight. Everything in readiness. Will contact you hourly.
It stopped. Jimmy, what does it mean?
Somebody in that cabin sending a message telling where this ship will be at midnight.
But why?
I don't know, but I've got a good idea. Look, Miss Barrington, you go up and get Mr. Kent. I'll stay here to see that nobody leaves this cabin.
Oh, but Jimmy, you must be wrong. That little old lady wouldn't be sending wireless messages.
Please, Miss Barrington, go get Mr. Kent.
All right, but he'll think we're both crazy. Wireless messages. Why, I never heard of anything so silly.
I've been crazy about this. If it wasn't Morse code, I'll eat my hat. Ship will be 150 miles from Cologne at midnight. Everything in readiness. Readiness for what? Oh!
Did I frighten you when I opened the door?
Oh, no. I mean,
You wanted to see me, young man?
Why, no. I mean, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Won't you come in, please?
Thank you.
That's right. I think it was very nice of you to be with me.
Mr. Kent. Mr. Kent.
Yes, Miss Barrington?
Listen, Jimmy and I were supposed to invite that little old lady to the meeting of passengers.
Yes?
We got to the door of her stateroom, and I was just about to knock when Jimmy said he heard Morse code.
What?
That's what he said. Morse code.
Where is Jimmy?
Waiting outside the cabin door. He told me to come up and get you.
Good for him. Where's the cabin?
Here, I'll show you. This is the corridor, and the cabin's at the end of it. Mr. Kent.
What is it?
Well, he's not there.
Who's not there?
Jimmy. I left him standing right outside that door. He's gone.
Now, don't get excited. Is this the cabin?
Yes. Number 33. What do you think happened to Jimmy, Mr. Kent? He said he was going to stay.
I'm sorry to disturb you, madam, but I'd like to speak with you. I'm one of the passengers.
Just a moment, please.
Mr. Kent, you think...
Quiet, please.
I was just lying down for a few minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, quite all right. Won't you both come in? Passengers on a ship should get to know one another. Don't you think?
Mr. Kent, ask her about Jimmy.
I beg your pardon?
We were planning a meeting of all the passengers, and we sent one of my young charges down to ask you to attend. Have you seen him?
Oh, yes. He was a very polite young man. But I explained to him that climbing the steps is quite a hardship for me. I'm not a spring chicken, you know.
But he was here. He spoke to you?
Yes, he said he was sorry I couldn't attend the meeting.
Oh. Well, I guess that's all. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome, I'm sure.
Mr. Kent.
Don't say anything. All right, you can talk now.
I don't quite know what to say. I'm speechless.
There's one thing I don't understand. If Jimmy thought it was important enough to send for me, why did he knock at her door and tell her about the meeting?
She seemed like a nice old lady. I didn't see any wireless set in her cabin.
No, neither did I. It was a trunk and a suitcase, that's all. We'll probably find Jimmy up in my cabin, ready to explain everything.
I hope so. Did you locate the two coffee merchants?
Oh, yes. Neither of them speak a word of English. Your father made a valiant attempt to get them to understand, but I'm afraid he failed. Here we are.
Father, is Jimmy here?
Jimmy? Why, no. Didn't you send him to get one of the passengers?
You haven't seen him, Dr. Barrington?
Not since he left with June.
I knew it. I knew it.
June? What's the trouble?
Jimmy seems to be missing, Doctor.
Yes.
He and your daughter went down to invite that elderly lady to our meeting, and Jimmy thought he heard a Morse code signal coming out of her cabin. He sent your daughter to get me. When we arrived, he was gone, and the lady told us he'd invited her to the meeting.
I'm sure something's happened to him.
Nonsense. He must be somewhere on the ship.
Well, he may be in his own cabin with Pug.
No, I just looked in there. Pug is alone, sleeping.
I'd better search the ship. Jimmy has a habit of stumbling into trouble.
Well, I'll help you. You stay here, June, in case he returns while we're gone.
If he does, Miss Barrington, keep him here.
Don't worry, I will.
I'm quite certain we locate him, Mr. Kent. After all, he couldn't just disappear.
As Clark Kent and Dr. Barrington prepare to search the ship from stem to stern, one of the white-clad dining room waiters slips silently along a corridor and knocks on the door of stateroom 33.
It is Hans. Drop the phony voice and open up.
All right. Why did you come here?
I told you it was dangerous.
I would like to know how things are going. If you make contact?
Yes. Midnight is the hour. Since you're here, you might just as well know that we had a close call.
What do you mean?
Those Americans, the men and the two boys, the ones we want to get off the ship.
Yeah, what about them?
One of the boys was listening at the door while I was making contact.
No.
Don't worry, he's safe. Locked in that trunk.
What are you going to do with him?
That remains to be seen. As you know, we cannot fail.
Yeah?
Nothing must stand in our way.
Yeah.
So if necessary, we will get rid of the trunk. You understand? In the meantime, take this suitcase and throw it overboard. Be careful you're not seen.
It contains the virus set?
Yes, it will not be necessary to make contact again. I think it may be dangerous to have it in this cabin.
No. Who would ever suspect you an old lady? You almost fooled me when you came into the dining room. That wig, that dress.
Never mind. Do as I say. Wait, we have another man on board, haven't we?
Yeah, in the engine room.
Good. I may need both of you later on. Take the suitcase now and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Who is it?
Sorry to bother you again, but I'd like to ask you a few questions.
It's the American.
Just a minute.
Here is the key to the adjoining cabin. Wait there until I go. I may need you. Be quiet.
All right, Jacob.
Just a minute, please. I'm sorry I kept you waiting.
Oh, that's quite all right. This is Dr. Barrington.
Oh, how do you do, Doctor?
How do you do?
Won't you come in, please?
Yes, thank you.
I must apologize for my cabin. It's quite disordered.
Madam, you may think this is a little strange, but we're still trying to find a young boy I inquired about some time ago.
Oh, I don't understand.
You were the last person who saw him.
I just spoke with him for a moment. He was very polite.
Yes, I know. You mentioned that before.
Young man, you're rather impertinent.
Mr. Kent, what was that?
Sounded like it came from the trunk. What's in that trunk?
Why, my personal belongings.
Would you mind opening it?
Well, isn't that an unusual request?
A lot of unusual things have been happening. Open the trunk.
Young man, I must ask you to leave my cabin.
Not until that trunk's open.
Why, you young whippersnapper?
Dr. Barrington, would you mind getting the captain?
You don't have to bother. I don't want to create a scene. I'll open the trunk if that's all you desire. I have the key here in my handbag. Yes? Right here.
Put your hands up, both of you.
Kent, what?
That's a very strange-looking key with a muzzle on it.
Never mind the comments. Back up against the wall. Hunt. Yeah. Find Dr. Barrington's daughter and bring her here. Tell her that her father wants her.
You don't have to mix my daughter up in this.
Unfortunately, you're all well mixed. You failed to heed my warnings not to sail on this ship. So you must suffer.
Oh, so you were responsible for those messages, eh? That explains a lot of things, including your masquerading as an old woman.
Shall I go?
Yes. Leave the wireless set here. It will no longer be necessary to get rid of it. Bring the girl quickly.
Yeah.
Why don't you open the trunk now and release the boy?
I can see no harm in that. Here's the key. You open it. And remember, I have you covered. You may take the gag off the boy's mouth.
That's very kind of you. Wait a minute. There we are, Jimmy.
It was hot in there. Mr. Kent, that old lady, she's a man.
Yes, we know.
Back against the wall, all of you. Come in, Miss Barrington.
Oh.
It's quite all right, June.
Yes, quite all right. Stand against the wall, Miss Barrington. Close the door, Hunt, and set up the wireless.
Yeah.
I deeply regret having to cause any of you embarrassment and discomfort, but unfortunately you brought it on yourselves by virtue of your own curiosity.
We're not interested in listening to speeches.
This speech will interest you, my friend. It will interest all of you very much.
What do you mean?
Precisely at midnight, this ship is going to the bottom of the ocean. And unfortunately, you are going with it.
Oh.
The wireless is ready.
Very well, Hunt. Make contact.
What can Clark Kent do in the face of this diabolical threat and the lives of everyone aboard the steamship? Does he dare reveal himself as Superman in order to save the ship and passengers from destruction? Don't forget to tune in next time for another thrilling adventure with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. When Kent, Jimmy Olsen, and young Pug Flanagan took passage on a boat from Panama to the United States, they never realized what was in store for them. But at this very moment, Kent and Jimmy are trapped in the cabin of a foreign agent who has masqueraded aboard ship as an elderly lady. With them are two other passengers, Dr. Michael Barrington, an English surgeon, and his daughter June. Only Pug, recovering from a slight accident in his own cabin, has escaped capture by the agent and his henchman Hunt. Things look very dark for Kent and his friends. To become Superman and save the situation would be to reveal his double identity to Jimmy and the others. What can he possibly do? Listen.
Stand against the wall, all of you. I have a very nervous finger on the trigger of this gun.
Better do it, folks.
All right, Ken.
Oh, this is terrible.
Hunt, close the door.
Yeah.
Lock it. Now open that suitcase and set up the portable wireless. You will try to make contact.
Very good.
Now, my friend.
What do you mean, friend? What sort of a game do you think you're playing?
It is far from a game. Believe me, I deeply regret having to cause any of you embarrassment, but unfortunately you brought it on yourselves by virtue of your own curiosity.
We're not interested in listening to speeches.
This speech will interest you. It will interest all of you very much.
What do you mean?
Precisely at midnight, Dr. Barrington, this ship is going to the bottom of the ocean. And unfortunately, you are all going with it.
Oh,
The wireless is ready, sir.
See if you can make contact.
You don't think you can get away with this, do you?
Who do you think will stop me?
This ship is traveling through protected waters.
That is very humorous, Doctor. Very humorous.
I have made contact, sir.
Good. Tell them everything is well in hand. Midnight is the hour. We will disembark 15 minutes before. That is all.
I wonder whether you realize that 3 passengers on this boat are American citizens.
Of course I do. But I gave you fair warning. Warning that you chose to ignore. My responsibility is at an end.
why are you seeking this ship?
A very sensible question, Miss Barrington. Deserving of an answer. Simply because it is carrying a cargo of nitrate. A cargo that must never reach its destination.
So you think nothing of taking the lives of more than a dozen people to destroy a few tons of nitrate?
Yes, Doctor. Just as you think nothing of taking the lives of a dozen guinea pigs to perfect a new medicine.
You're a murderer. A cold-blooded murderer.
I'd give my right arm to have Superman here now. He'd picture.
Don't lose your temper, Jim.
It is best for all of you to remain calm. We have more than an hour to wait.
The message has been sent.
Go up on deck and keep a sharp eye out. You know the signals.
Yes,
Report the moment you sight them.
very well.
Look here, man. Is there nothing that will appeal to your sense of decency?
You must not be too harsh, Doctor. I am a servant of the state. It is not for me to give the orders, simply to carry them out. If you had not attempted to interfere with me, you would have been given ample opportunity to escape by a small boat.
That would have been very considerate of you.
I think so, Mr. Kent. But as it is, you have gambled with that opportunity and lost.
Perhaps not. The cards haven't all been dealt.
Unfortunately for you, they have. And I am holding the ace. Before we leave this doomed ship, all of you will be bound and gagged. I can take no chance of failure.
Wait a minute. What was that noise?
A storm coming up. We expected it. Will serve our purpose admirably. Ships have been lost at sea before, during violent tropical storms.
You're a fiend. Nothing but a fiend. You hear me? A fiend.
June, darling.
He's going to murder us, Father, in cold blood.
With thunder rolling across the dark ocean like a warning of impending doom, Clark Kent watches the minutes slip by, knowing full well that to assume the role of Superman will be to reveal forever his double identity. Meanwhile, in the excitement, Pug Flanagan has been forgotten. But back in his cabin, Pug has awakened, found himself none the worse for his accident in the hold of the ship, and, unaware of what has transpired, starts searching for Kent and Jimmy Olsen. As he reaches the deck, a bolt of lightning momentarily cleaves the darkness, and he notices Hans standing at the rail.
Maybe that waiter knows where Jimmy and Mr. Kent are. I'll ask him. Hey, pal.
Yeah?
You haven't seen a big, tall guy and a kid about my size snapping around, have you?
You're looking for someone?
Yeah. My friend Clark Kent and my buddy, Jimmy Olsen. You ain't seen him, have you?
You are the other boy who was traveling with Mr. Kent?
Yeah. Hey, what are you looking at me that way for?
I was just surprised. Come. I will show you where you can find Mr. Kent.
You know where he is?
Yes, I do.
Is Jimmy with him?
The other boy, yes. But come. I will show you.
Oh, boy.
Yes. The storm is going to break soon.
Yeah.
Why are you stopping?
Because I smell a rat, that's why.
What do you mean?
There's something phony about you taking me to where Mr. Kent is. You're too anxious.
It is just that I wish to help you. Come.
Let go of my arm.
You are a very strange boy.
Never mind about that. Let go of my arm, I said.
Listen, you little swine. Come along or I will throw you overboard.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you can't get away. I will break every bone in your skinny body.
That's what you think. Oh!
Dirty.
I can still kick, mister. Try this one. Oh! So long. I'll be seeing you.
Come back. Come back, I say. Come back. Come back. Open up. It is Hans.
Just a moment. Don't any of you move. What's the matter? You're white as a ghost.
Close the door.
Speak up. What happened?
The other kid. He got away from me.
What are you talking about?
Mr. Kent, Pug.
I was standing at the rail, watching for the signal when a skinny kid he came up and asked whether I had seen Kent.
Yes.
Well, I told him I would take him to where Kent was. So he started across the deck, but he got suspicious. So I grabbed him, but the little swine, he kicked me and got away.
Good old Pug.
Shut up.
Pug will tell the captain.
Shut up, or I'll...
Don't you dare lay a hand on him.
I'll take care of all of you later. Hans, where did the boy go?
I do not know. I lost him in the darkness. I can look for him, but I thought it best to warn you.
You should never have let him escape.
What could I do? I told you before he kicked me.
All right. I'll find him then. You won't kick an elderly lady. Here, take this gun.
Yeah?
Don't be afraid to use it, and shoot to kill. You understand?
Yeah, I understand.
Lock the door behind me and don't open it for anyone. I will be back shortly.
Yeah.
Remember, Hans, shoot to kill.
This way, Captain. I was looking for my pals, Clark Kent and Jimmy Olsen. And I seen this guy standing at the rail. He was dressed in white, just like a waiter.
This is very strange. The waiters are not permitted on the passenger deck.
Well, he was there. So I asked him if he'd seen Mr. Kent and Jimmy. He gets all excited and tells me he'll take me to where they are. But it didn't sound right to me, so I said ixnay. Then he grabbed him by the arm, and he starts to get tough. That's when I hauled off and kicked him.
I do not understand this.
You're the captain of this tub, ain't you?
Of course, I am the captain.
Well, there's something screwy going on.
I do not know. What is this screwy?
Something's wrong. Where's Kent and Jimmy? Why did this guy try to give me the rush act?
We will investigate. We will find this waiter and demand an explanation. Vámonos.
Huh?
I said vámonos, which means in my language, let us go.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Someone is knocking at the door.
Good evening, Captain.
Oh, good evening, senor.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, me?
Yes, we are having a little party in my cabin. We have been looking for you.
Looking for me?
Yes, Mr. Kent and Jimmy wanted to be at the party. We sent a waiter to find you, but he said you refused to come. Don't you want to join us?
I'll be. You mean you sent that waiter to get me? You mean Mr. Kent and Jimmy are in your cabin?
Uh-huh. Now, won't you join us?
You see, it is nothing at all.
That waiter didn't say he was inviting me no place.
Possibly he didn't understand. But what difference does it make? Mr. Kent and Jimmy are waiting for you. We are having a wonderful party with ice cream and cake and candy.
Okay. But if I see that waiter tomorrow, I'm going to tell him a thing or two. I'm sorry I bothered you, Captain.
It is nothing. It is nothing at all.
Good night, Captain.
Buenas noches, senora. Buenas noches.
Mr. Kent and Jimmy will be very happy to see you.
How long they been in your cabin?
Oh, just a short time.
Ain't it kind of late to be holding a party?
Oh, no. We plan to have a big blowout at midnight. A very big blowout.
Oh, well, that's swell.
Pug wouldn't think it so swell if he knew what the old lady means by a big blowout. It looks like he's being led into the same trap that holds Kent, Jimmy, and the Barringtons. If only he knew that the elderly lady hobbling along beside him is, in reality, a foreign agent masquerading as a woman. What will happen? Don't forget to tune in next time for another thrilling episode with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman. Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Welcome back. I think that there's a very serious point to them in terms of readying the hearts and minds of the American people to deal with Nazism and the threat that it posed to the free world. And I think that this is just one part of that process. And Superman, like I said, over the radio, taking this on, we'll see it more clearly in the next couple of episodes, so I hope you'll be back for that. In the meantime, that's all for today. While we continue Superman's battle with the Axis in the spring of 1941, 6 months before Pearl Harbor, we'll begin by playing the last two parts of the Nitrate shipment. Then we'll talk a little bit about the end of that serial and the start of this next one. And then after we play the first two parts of the next serial, I'll have a little additional commentary on Superman during the war. But let's go ahead and take a listen to the Nitrate shipment, parts 8 and 9.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. When we last saw Kent, he and Jimmy Olsen were being held at gunpoint in the cabin of a foreign agent aboard a ship loaded with nitrate bound from Panama to the United States. With them are two English passengers, Dr. Michael Barrington and his daughter June. The ship is to be sunk at midnight, and as time passes, Kent realizes that in order to save the lives of all on board, he will have to assume the role of Superman, even though it means revealing his double identity. Then suddenly a ray of hope gleams. Young Pug Flanagan, forgotten in the excitement, has gone to the captain with a report that Kent and Jimmy are missing, and that something strange is going on aboard the ship. But the foreign agent, leaving his henchman Hans to guard our friends, has followed Pug to the captain's quarters disguised as an elderly lady. Listen.
What's that?
Someone is knocking at the door.
Good evening, Captain.
Buenas noches, senor.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, me?
Yes. We have been looking for you. We are having a little party in my cabin. Mr. Kent is there and Jimmy.
Well, I'll be.
We sent one of the waiters to find you, but he said you refused to come.
You see, it is nothing at all.
You mean to say Mr. Kent and Jim are in your cabin?
Uh-huh. We are having a lovely time. Won't you join us?
Oh, sure, but why didn't the waiter tell me instead of getting tough?
Oh, he probably didn't understand.
Doesn't make any sense to me, but I suppose it's okay. I'm sorry I bothered you.
It is nothing.
Good night, Captain.
Buenas noches, senora. Buenas noches.
Mr. Kent and Jimmy will be very happy to see you.
How long they been in your cabin?
Oh, just a short time.
Ain't it kind of late to be holding a party?
Oh, no, not on board ship. We plan to have a big blowout at midnight. A very big blowout.
Sounds like a storm coming up.
Yes, it does. Now, I must be careful going down these steps. I'm not as young as I used to be.
I'll help you, lady.
Oh, thank you.
Just take it easy. That's it.
Oh, you're a perfect little gentleman. There we are. Well, my cabin is at the end of this corridor.
Wait a minute.
Why, is something the matter?
Yeah, plenty. You ain't no dame.
What do you mean?
Just what I said. You're just wearing them clothes to make out you're an old lady.
What in the world are you talking about?
Listen, I wasn't born yesterday. I had to hold your arm coming down them steps. You got muscles like a man.
And I know how to use them, too.
Let go of me.
Not this time.
Oh, no.
Kick me, will you?
Yeah, here's another one. There.
I'll fix you. Stop.
Two guys like you couldn't hold me.
Come back here. You won't get away.
That's what you think. Try taking me in that skirt. Go ahead, try.
When I get my hands on you...
Don't make me laugh.
Got away. He was right. Can't run in this outfit. Well, it just means speeding things up a little. Pants, open. You found him? Close the door. Well, I found him, but she got away.
Oh, boy.
You won't be so happy in a short while. Go up on deck, Hans. Keep a sharp lookout. We won't wait until midnight. I will make contact immediately and tell them to come ahead.
What is your hurry?
The boy knows I'm not an old woman. Every minute counts. Give me that gun.
You haven't a chance now. You'd better give up.
When I need your advice, Mr. Kent, I'll ask for it. Until then, keep your mouth shut. Go ahead, Hans.
Yeah, I go.
Now I want to warn each one of you that from this moment on, I'm a desperate man. If I fail in this mission, my life means nothing. So you see, I have very little to lose. Don't move. If you do, it will be the end for all of you.
But even as the message that will hurry the doom of the ship and all on board crackles through the air, Pug Flanagan, having made good his escape, realizes that the situation calls for quick action. Unwilling to trust even the captain, he has equipped himself with a length of rope and is determined once and for all to find out whether Kent and Jimmy Olsen are being held prisoners in the cabin of the bogus old woman. Clutching his coil of rope, he slips silently to the deck above the cabin, reaches the rail, and leans far over.
That's the porthole right below. I can see it lit up. All I gotta do is tie the rope to the railing, shinny down, and take a look. I wish this tub wasn't bouncing around the way it is. Oh, I better hurry. That storm's gonna hit us soon. There, she's tied tight enough. Can't take a chance of her slipping. Because if she does, I'm a dead pigeon. Okay, Flanagan, over you go. Wow, almost lost my balance that time. Gotta be careful. Maybe I better tie the end of the rope around my middle, just in case. Yeah, that's better. Now to shinny down to that porthole. The wind's blowing. Can't hear me. This is gonna be a cinch. Just a couple of feet more. Hey, wait a minute. The porthole's open. I don't want to stick my foot through it. I better slide over a little. Yeah, that does it. I hope nobody spots me when I look into the porthole. Gotta be careful. Easy now. Easy. Holy smokes. There's Mr. Kent and Jimmy and that white-haired guy and his daughter lying up against the wall. And that phony dame's got them covered with a gun. What will I do? I can only burst the light and give Kent a chance to sock him in the dark. Yeah, but how am I going to do it? I know. A rubber band and a nail. It's just as good as a bean shooter. It'll be tough shooting if I'm hanging on to this rope. But I think I can do it. Up you go, Flanagan.
While Pug climbs back up the dangling rope to go in search of a rubber band and a nail, The atmosphere in the cabin of the foreign agent grows more tense by the moment. Facing what he believes to be certain death, Dr. Barrington maintains a stony silence as he watches his daughter's wan, pale face for some sign of her cracking under the strain. Even Jimmy, accustomed to danger, seems to have given up hope. Only Kent is alert, for he realizes that unless a miracle happens, he will soon have to reveal his true identity and take matters into his own hands. Outside, the wind howls past the open porthole as the ship plows through a heavy sea to its doom.
The storm's going to break soon, Mr. Kent.
Sounds that way, Jim.
I wonder what happened to Pug. I think by this time he'd have notified the captain.
Don't waste your time thinking about it.
I bet he didn't get away. I'll bet you did something to him.
Perhaps. What difference does it make?
It makes this difference. Thus far, all you've done is threaten the lives of innocent people. But I warn you, if any harm comes to that boy, you'll suffer for it as you've never suffered before.
Wouldn't you call that rather an idle promise? With you in the position you are in?
I won't be in this position long.
Your confidence is very refreshing.
It's beginning to rain.
Yeah. Would you mind closing the porthole? Miss Barrington is getting wet.
Not at all. Oh, I see. It's just a ruse to divert my attention for a moment. Close it yourself if you wish. No, wait. On second thought, I think it should remain open. Yes, leave it open. I may want to look out in a hurry. A little rain won't hurt Miss Barrington. She might just as well get used to being wet.
How much longer have we to wait?
Not long. 10 or 15 minutes.
Then what?
Then I leave you to your prayers.
I haven't bothered to ask, but I assume the plans are to torpedo the ship.
Your assumption, Mr. Kent, is quite correct.
Don't you think it would be the decent human thing to do to permit passengers and crew to get away in lifeboats?
Unfortunately, that is not possible. There must be no survivors to tell how the ship went to the bottom. That you can well understand.
I can understand only one thing. That men like you don't deserve to be called human beings.
You seem to forget one thing. I gave you ample opportunity to avoid being a part of this. I warned you once before we sailed and once after. What more could I do?
What about Dr. Barrington and his daughter?
They are enemies.
It's no use, Mr. Kent. It's no use talking to him. Poor Pug. I'm sure something happened to him, or otherwise he'd have brought help.
Easy, Jim.
Only 10 more minutes.
Stay right where you are, Mr. Kent. Don't move.
Now listen, I don't know your name and I don't care to know it. But I'm giving you one more chance to act like a human being. What you do with this ship is none of my business, but what you do with the people on board is my business.
I'm warning you, Kent. Don't try anything.
Look, someone's at the porthole.
Down on the floor! Get down!
Orange tongues of flame stab the sudden darkness of the cabin, darkness that enables Clark Kent to become Superman and hurl himself bodily at the armed agent. But in a momentary lull in the storm, the sound of shots reaches the ears of Hunt, standing at the ship's rail. Alarmed, he runs along the deck, only to stop short when he reaches the spot where a rope has been tied to the railing.
What is this? A rope dangling over the side. Someone climbing up it. Good thing I brought the flashlight with me. So, it's that skinny kid. The one who got away from me. You, boy.
What?
Don't bother climbing any higher. I'm going to cut the rope.
No.
And when I do, you will drop into the sea.
Please. Please.
Too late, my boy. There it goes.
Pug's plan to shatter the light bulb and throw the cabin into darkness seems to have worked, but at a terrific cost. Can Kent, even as Superman, save the courageous boy from the dark, storm-swept sea? Don't forget to tune in next time for the thrilling conclusion of this story with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman. Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Up in the sky! Look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's Superman!
And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. In our last episode, we learned how young Pug Flanagan, in a daring attempt to help Kent and Jimmy Olsen escape from the cabin where they were held by a foreign agent, climbed down a rope suspended over the side of the ship, armed only with a nail and a rubber band. Fortunately, the cabin's porthole was open. Clinging to the swaying rope, Pug shot the nail at the single light bulb burning in the cabin, shattering it into a million fragments and throwing the room into darkness. Shots rang out as Kent, making use of the dark to become Superman, hurled himself at the foreign agent. Meanwhile, Pug, his work done, started up the rope hand over hand. But the shots had reached the ears of the agent's henchman, a man named Hunt, stationed on deck. Quickly, he ran to the rail where Pug had tied one end of the rope. In the glare of a flashlight, he recognized Pug climbing up. Whipping out a knife, he began to hack at the strands, trying to cut the rope. Listen.
You, boy, no use climbing any higher. I am cutting the rope.
No.
And when I do, you will drop into the sea.
Please.
Too late, my boy. There it goes.
Lightning cleaves the black sky and thunder crashes as Pug, unable to swim, drops like a plummet into the raging, storm-swept sea. But through the open porthole of the agent's cabin, Superman's keen hearing catches Pug's last screaming call for help, recognizes it. In an instant, he is on deck, muscles tense, X-ray eyes searching the darkness. A shadowed figure runs across the deck, but faster than light, Superman follows him, clutches his arm.
Just a minute. I heard a cry for help. Where's that boy, Pug?
Who are you?
Never mind who I am. Answer my question.
Yes. Here's your answer. Oh. And broken.
Answer my question. Where's that boy?
You're killing me. You're crushing my ribs.
Talk, and talk fast.
He went overboard.
Where? Which side of the boat?
Stop it. Out.
I'll be back to take care of you. I don't know whether I can find poor Pug in all this storm, but I've got to try. He's on the surface, but all he can't have floated far. Up, and away!
Like some giant bird, Superman wings out over the dark, turbulent waters, red cloak streaming in the wind, sharp eyes scanning the surface of the sea for some sign of Pug. Jagged bolts of lightning rip across the blackened sky, followed by the crashing boom of thunder. Battling the elements as no one else could, Superman circles closer and closer to the wind-tossed water. Each second carries him further and further away from the ship. Hope begins to wane. Pug is gone. And then suddenly...
What's that directly below me? A piece of driftwood? No, it's Pug. He's going under. Down. Okay, Pug. I've got you. He's unconscious. Better get him back to the ship in a hurry. Up, and away!
He had us all covered with his gun, and he said the ship was going to be sunk in 10 minutes. Then suddenly I saw a face at the porthole. There was a crash of glass and the light went out. That's when he fired those shots.
And this face of the porthole, you do not know who it was?
No, Captain Estero. It all happened too fast.
Well, there is one thing of which we can be certain. Those two will not bother us. They are safe in irons.
But what about Clark Kent and Pug? They've disappeared.
I think we will find them someplace on the ship.
What about being sunk by a torpedo?
If we are hit, there is only one thing to do. Take to the boat.
In this storm?
What else is there? Come. We will find Senor Kent and this boy you call Pug.
You don't have to look very far, Captain.
Mr. Kent.
I'm happy to see you, Senor.
What happened, Mr. Kent? I thought sure that guy killed you. When the light went out, his gun was pointing right at your chest. How did you escape?
Well, I guess it was bad marksmanship on his part, Jim. How are the Barringtons?
Miss Barrington fainted, but she's all right now.
Oh.
Her father's with her in her cabin. Have you seen Pug?
Yes, he's safe and sound. That's what brought me up on deck in such a hurry. I heard Pug cry for help. One of our foreign friends was trying to throw him overboard. Incidentally, what happened to that pair?
They are both in irons, Senor.
Oh, good. Now we can relax for a while.
Oh, no, we can't. Not if we're going to be torpedoed.
Jim, you'd better go down to the cabin and stay with Pug. Captain Estero and I will watch things up here.
Oh, gee, can't I be with you?
Well, Pug's alone in the cabin. And after what he did, I think he deserves some attention.
What do you mean?
Well, it was Pug who lowered himself over the side of the ship and broke that electric light bulb.
No kidding.
That's right.
Boy, then he deserves more than attention. He deserves a medal. I'll go right down to him. In case anything happens, call me.
I will.
A very nice boy, Senor.
Jimmy? Oh, he's tough. Now, look, Captain. Jimmy's probably told you everything, including the possibility this ship may be torpedoed.
See, but what I am to do, senor? Shall I give orders to turn back?
I don't think that would help. I suspect the submarine lying in wait for us won't attack without a signal. If, as you say, the two men are in irons, there will be no signal. All we can do is watch and hope.
Meanwhile, in the darkness of a forward hold, 3 decks below, a hushed voice rises above the sound of the ship's engine.
Listen. Yeah? You said some time ago that we have another man on board.
Yeah, in the engine room.
You think he will have enough sense to find out where we are?
How can I tell?
I still do not understand what happened.
I told you that young swine, the skinny one, climbed down a rope and threw something into the porthole. I caught him and cut the rope. At least we accounted for one of them.
What good does it do us? Without our signal, Miller will not attack. We've got to get loose and free of these chains.
You're wasting your time. Relax.
Sure. What difference does it make to you? This is my mission. I'm responsible for its success. Do you know what will happen to me if I fail?
Quiet. Someone comes.
Yeah, here. I could not come sooner.
What have you brought?
A hacksaw. It's all I could find.
Quickly. Start on this chain between my hands.
Yeah.
Can't you go any faster? You think we have all night?
Do the best I can.
What is doing on the ship?
I do not know. I heard you were in irons. I come as soon as I could. Yeah, there, it's through.
All right. Give me the saw.
Yeah.
I'll do the rest myself. Go back to the engine room. We don't want anyone looking for you.
Yeah, well.
When you hear the sound of a gun being fired, come at once to the lower deck, you understand?
I understand.
Now go. Hold your arms out, Hans. In 5 minutes, we'll both be free.
Go ahead, Pug. What happened after that?
Well, when I ditched the guy who was making out he was an old lady, I figured something was wrong in his tub.
Yeah, there was plenty wrong. 2 foreign agents had us cornered in their cabin.
Well, I didn't know that, but I knew something was rotten in Denmark. So I got me a hunk of rope, tied it to the rail, and went over the side. I'm telling you, Jim, when I saw you and Mr. Kent standing there with that guy pointing a gun at you, I nearly passed out. Boy, I want to
Wait a
tell
minute,
you...
Pug.
Huh?
Someone at the door.
He's trying to open it.
Get under the bed. Maybe the man who threw you overboard. I'll get into bed.
Oh. He's asleep, Hans.
Yeah. We do not have to bother him.
No. Come on. We go to the forward deck and give the signal.
Yeah. I do not think you will see any light, Senor Kent. No submarine in these waters would carry lights.
No, probably not. I thought I heard the purr of a motor launch.
Huh?
Jimmy, I thought I... Pug, what are you doing here?
Mr. Kent, those 2 men, the agents, they got loose.
What?
No, it cannot be.
That's what I thought, but they came into our cabin. I made believe I was asleep.
Yes?
They said they were going to show a signal on the lower deck at the forward part of the ship.
Hey, look. What's that light?
Flashing on and off.
That must be them.
I will put an end to that.
No. No, Captain. Leave them alone.
You're not going to let us get torpedoed, Mr. Kent.
Listen. Hear that motorboat?
Yeah. Yeah, I hear it.
It's going to pick them up.
But see, what are we standing here for?
We must stop them, senor.
What's that?
A gun fired across our bow. In order to heave to. Don't pay any attention to
But,
it.
senor...
Trust me, Captain. I forgot to tell you, boys, that we have a visitor on board. A friend of yours, Jimmy.
Friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, have you been holding out on me?
I don't get you, Mr. Kent.
Superman is on board, Jim.
Superman?
No kid. Where is he?
Waiting to take care of these murderers in his own way. You two stand here at the rail so you can see the show. Captain, I'd like you to go up on the bridge and shine your searchlight across the water amidships.
But, senor, this is most unusual.
I know, but it's the best way.
Very well, I will do it.
Oh, where are you going, Mr. Kent?
Tell Superman we're ready. The launch is on its way back to the submarine. Now, don't move from this spot no matter what happens.
What do you think's going to happen, Jim?
Gosh, I don't know. It's all kind of strange.
What if something goes wrong?
Well, nothing can go wrong with Superman around.
You know, I don't get this Superman business. How does the guy know where to find
Look,
it?
the searchlight's on.
Well, it sure lights things up. There's the sub. I can see it. Look, Jim.
I see it. And I see something else, too.
What?
White streak in the water. It's a torpedo coming right at us.
No, it can't be.
I tell you it is. Look, it's right in the path of the light now. We're going to be hit.
Jim, up there in the sky, look.
It's Superman.
He's diving down. Down in the water.
Look at him, like a bullet.
What's he going to do?
Watch him. He's going after that torpedo.
Look, he's got us.
Pug, do you see what I see? He's turning the torpedo around, sending it back at the submarine.
There it goes.
Right into the submarine.
And so another Superman adventure ends with the enemies of law and order getting a taste of their own medicine. But there's bound to be something doing when Clark Kent, Jimmy, and their newfound friend, Pug Flanagan, return to Metropolis. So be with us when we begin a new, even more thrilling adventure with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird.
It's a plane! It's Superman! Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Welcome back. The references to the Axis in this episode are a little bit more subtle than we'll see in the next one. For the main clue was that they referred to the British father and daughter as enemies. As we'll see in this next serial, the Nazi angle is a little bit more explicit. One final word on this serial. Despite what the announcer said at the end, Pug Flanagan is never heard again on the Superman radio show. It was a shame because he was a fun character, but he was just one of those one-shots. All right, well, according to Michael Haid, author of Flights of Fantasy, the definitive book on the Adventures of Superman radio show, this next serial was actually adapted from the very first script they wanted to use that the network in 1939 and 40 said was just too hot to handle. And it is full of some excitement, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's take a listen to the Grayson Submarine Parts 1 and 2.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. It begins far out at sea, deep beneath the rolling surface of the water, where a sleek gray-hulled submarine, modern symbol of America's first line of defense, slips through the murky depths like some giant, sightless creature of the uncharted ocean. Inside the steel hull, the voices of its designer, Charles Grayson, and its commanding officer, Captain Denning, rise above the soft throb of its engine.
I'm afraid to take a chance, Mr. Grayson. We're down to 280 now.
But, Captain Denning, the purpose of this test run is to prove that she can stand the pressure at 400 feet and better. Why, I'll stake my life on it.
I know, but there are the lives of my crew to consider. I'll grant they were handpicked for this test run, but even so, I can't expose them to unnecessary danger.
It isn't danger. And even if it were, it isn't unnecessary. Why, ever since the conning tower of the first submersible slipped beneath the surface of the water, every navy in the world has been striving to perfect a ship that could stand the enormous pressure at great depth.
Well, you've done that. 280 is good depth.
I know, but it's not good enough. Take her down to 350, Captain.
Well,
it's the only way we'll ever be certain.
All right, but there's a prayer on my lips. Diving officer.
Speaking, sir.
Submerge to 350.
I beg your pardon, sir.
I said submerge to 350.
Yes, sir.
Oh, that's that.
You won't even notice it, Captain. Almost 12 tons of pressure on every square foot of our hull surface. But it won't make the slightest bit of difference. It's 300 now. Any other submarine would be a twisted mass of wreckage by this time.
320.
Don't stop, Captain Denning. She'll go to 400 if you let her.
330. I'm afraid of buckled plates. All stations, check fore and aft for open seams. Report any leakage at once.
340, Captain. Look at the depth gauge. Can you believe your eyes?
No, I can't. Wait, we've sprung leaks. Yes,
All seams checked, sir.
Yes?
No leakage.
Very good.
No leaks?
Everything's tight.
Then we've done it. We're at 350 feet, leveling off. Captain Denning, do you know what this means? Our country now has a submarine that... What's that?
I don't know. We've lost headway. Engine room! Engine room!
Engine room reporting.
What happened? Why have we stopped?
I don't know, sir. The motors are turning up 3,000.
But we're not moving. Rev them up to 4.
Yes, sir.
Do you hear that scraping on the hull, Captain? Why, that's strange.
Grayson, we're still not moving. With the motors running at full speed. What's happened to the ship?
I can't understand.
I have had enough of this. Diving officer, surface at once.
We can't, sir. Something's holding us down.
What do you mean?
I don't know, sir, but we're being held down by something. We can't move in any direction.
Grayson, you hear that? We can't go up and we can't move forward or backward. We're trapped. At 350 feet, Grayson. Trapped.
That scraping on the hull. Listen to it. Like iron chains. Listen.
All hands at emergency stations. Close battery room bulkhead. Stand by for further orders.
Trapped. At 350 feet, the newly designed submarine hangs suspended as though in the grip of some huge sea monster, unable to move in any direction. Meanwhile, back at the naval base, crowds mill at the office of the squadron commander as the bad news travels like wildfire.
How many times I got to tell you the commander ain't seeing nobody? Now stand back there. Hey, you.
My name's Kent, Daily Planet. I have a special pass.
Okay. Now stand back there. Come on, now, everybody. Stand back. Now, everybody, get back.
Commander Leeds?
Yes?
I'm Clark Kent of the Daily Planet.
Oh, yes. Glad to know you, Mr. Kent. You're the young man who helped us out about a year ago, aren't you?
Oh, it really wasn't anything.
Well, they seem to think pretty highly of you. That's why you're the one reporter on the inside. You know what's happened, don't you?
I think so. Grayson's new submarine is down somewhere off the coast.
At a depth of 350 feet, and evidently unharmed.
I don't quite understand, Commander.
Neither do we, Kent. There's something strange about all this. Something very strange. Captain Denning, commanding the submarine, has reported his ship at 350 feet. But he's not on the bottom of the ocean. The water at that location is 2,000 feet deep.
Then it hasn't sunk.
No. But it can't move in any direction.
How did you get all this information, if I may ask?
The submarine is equipped with a special deep-sea radio sending and receiving set. We've been in contact with it for the last hour.
Oh.
They're probably talking to Captain Denning in the radio room now. Would you like to listen?
Oh, yes, I would.
All right, this way. Anything new, Collins?
Captain Denning signed off, sir, to conserve battery.
Try to raise him again.
Yes, sir. Calling S2V4. Calling S2V4. Come in, please.
You'll have to stand close, Kent. The signal is weak.
All right.
S2V4 back. Come in.
Ask him whether there's been any change.
Yes, sir. Captain Denning, has there been any change?
No change. We can't move in any direction. We seem to be caught by something. We hear peculiar noises on the hull as though iron chains were scraping against it. Come in.
Ask him if the ship is damaged.
Is your ship damaged, Captain Denning?
No damage. No leaks. Pressure doesn't bother us. We have enough oxygen for 12 hours. Our batteries are getting weak.
Yes, Captain. Captain Denning.
Wait. We seem to be moving. Yes, something is dragging us. Something...
Hello. Hello.
What happened?
He's off, sir.
Raise him. He said they were moving. Did you hear him, Kent?
Yes, but he said something was dragging them.
Calling S2V4. Calling S2V4. Come in, please.
He did say something was dragging them. What could he mean?
Calling S2V4. S2V4. Come in, please.
I don't like the looks of this, Kent. It doesn't make sense.
It is rather strange. Do you know their location, Commander?
Wait. Well, Collins?
Can't raise him, sir. Keep trying.
Yes, sir. Come on, Kent.
Yeah.
Calling S2V4. S2V4.
You say you know their location, Commander?
Yes, that was the first thing Denning gave us. 2 of our salvage boats are on the way.
Oh.
But what good is the location if they're moving or being dragged? We must have misunderstood him, Kent.
Oh, I'm sure that's what he said. Something is dragging us.
What could be dragging a 5,000-ton submarine? Why not even Superman could do that?
Oh, yes, he could.
What?
I think he could. Commander, would you give me the location of the submarine?
What good would it do you?
I don't suppose it would do me much good, but...
Ted, I'm going to try something that's never been done before. I'm going to take another submarine down to look for them.
But the Grayson ship is the only one that can dive safely beyond 250 feet.
Well, that's deep enough. If we pass over them, we can pick them up on the magnetic finder.
May I come along, Commander?
Well, it isn't customary to carry civilians, but I imagine we can make an exception in your case.
Thank you, sir.
I'll call and have them prepare one of our fast subs. Submarine basin, quickly, please. Kent, there's more to this than appears on the surface. That submarine... Hello. Commander Lee speaking. Get the S-23 ready for immediate departure. That's right. S-23. That big dial is the depth gauge, Kent.
Oh.
We're down 150 feet. The more water ballast we take on, the faster we sink.
What's that hiss of air?
Pressure equalizer. The pressure inside the ship must be equal to the pressure outside, or these steel plates would crumple like eggshells. We're at 200 now. We'll level off at 250.
How do you level off?
There are two rudders at the stern of the ship. We call them planes. They control surfacing and diving when we're under power.
Oh.
Now, you see, we're leveling off now at 250.
Uh-huh.
Now, watch this small dial with the red indicator. The moment we pass over anything made of metal, the indicator will tell us how far beneath us the metal is.
But how can you be sure it's the submarine?
Well, we can't. But the odds are with us. It took 10 years of my life to see that indicator suddenly shoot. Hey, Kent! Something's happened. We're stopped.
Oh. Only the motors are going, but we're not moving.
Listen, Kent. That's scraping on the hull.
Didn't Captain Denning say that...
He said they heard scraping on the hull like iron chains. Diving officer, Commander Lead speaking. What's happened?
We can't move, sir. We're caught in something.
Can we surface?
No, sir.
Stop the motors. Have all men stand by at emergency stations.
Yes, sir.
Kent, the same thing that happened to Denning's ship has happened to us. It's uncanny. It's impossible.
I don't understand the noise on the hull. Could we have struck a submerged wreck?
How could we? We're 1,700 feet from the bottom of the ocean.
Commander, is there an emergency exit from this submarine?
Yes, there's the stern escape hatch. You can't use it at this depth, even with a Munson lung. Water pressure would crush a man to death.
I'm willing to try it.
Oh, Kent, you're mad. There's only one thing we can do. Release the disaster buoy. One of the salvage ships will send a diver down.
It may be too late by then.
What do you mean?
Don't you remember Captain Denning's last words? Something is dragging.
Now, look, Kent, I brought you along in defiance of all rules and regulations. This is an emergency, and I'm commander of this submarine. Like the crew, you take orders from me.
Naturally, sir, but if I can be of any help...
You can, by keeping out of the way.
May I look at the escape hatch?
No, stay where you are. Commander Lee speaking.
Diving officer reporting, sir. No damage to hull. Standing by for orders.
Release the disaster buoy.
Yes, sir.
Now, Kent, there's no reason for panic. The ship isn't... Kent, where are you? Kent! Kent!
Taking advantage of the few seconds during which Commander Leeds was receiving the diving officer's report, Clark Kent has slipped into the stern of the trapped submarine, determined to investigate the strange mystery of the sea as Superman. Will he be able to leave through the escape hatch? And if he does, what will he find in the darkness of the ocean depths?
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, then steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story, which continues today in the office of Perry White, editor of the Daily Planet. A long-distance phone call has come through from the naval base. Editor White listens attentively as Lois Lane, star girl reporter of the paper, stands anxiously at his desk.
Yes, go on. Are you sure? I see. All right, Evans, thanks a lot. And call me if anything breaks. Right. That was Evans of Consolidated News. He's at the naval base. It doesn't look too good, Lois.
What do you mean, Mr. White?
Well, here's the story. The Navy sent that new Grayson-designed submarine out on a test dive early today. It went down to 350 feet and then got stuck.
Stuck? You mean on the bottom?
No, it was diving at 2,000 feet of water. Well, anyway, it was stuck at 350. Couldn't go forward, backward, up, or down.
But, Chief, that's impossible.
You haven't heard anything yet. A second submarine with the head of the naval base, Commander Leeds, on board, went down to investigate. Evans just told me a report came in that the second sub just sent up a disaster buoy with a note in it saying that they were stuck at 250 feet.
I don't understand it.
Well, neither does anyone at the naval base. No matter what happens, this will make the biggest sea story of the year.
Well, then why hasn't Clark Kent phoned it in? He's covering it, isn't he?
For a very good reason, Lois. He's on that second submarine.
What?
That's right. Evans said Kent got special permission to make the dive.
You mean Clark's stuck down there at 250 feet?
That's what I mean. You can learn something about reporting from this, Lois. Get your story no matter where you have to go to get it. That boy has courage.
Courage? Clark Kent has courage? Why, he's as meek as a lamb and afraid of his shadow.
Don't you believe it? Perry White talking. Yes? Oh, they are. Good. Good. Yes, I'll be there. Thanks. That was Evans again. They're sending divers down to attach cables to the submarine Kent is on in an attempt to raise it. I'm driving down to the naval base. It's only 100 miles from here, and I can make it in 2 hours. Want to come along?
Sure.
Okay, grab a hat and meet me at the elevator. Make it fast.
On the way.
Give me the press room. O'Neill, Perry White. Hold the 7-star final till you hear from me. That's right. I'll call you before
7. I think we're on the wrong road, Mr. White. The last sign I saw said 20 miles to the naval base, and we've been driving almost an hour since we passed it. Hadn't we better ask someone?
Ask someone? Now, where in the name of heaven are you going to find anyone to ask? This looks like no man's land.
Well, there's a fork in the road up ahead.
Yeah, well, I'll go left, and that'll head us toward the ocean.
Maybe we'd better go back to that sign.
I got a hunch we're on the right road now. There, smell the salt air? That means we're near water.
Oh, I hope we're near something. What's that red light?
I don't know. Good grief. It's a dead-end sign. This is as far as the road goes. You see? I told you we were near water. There's the beach and the ocean.
But no naval base. Now what do we do?
Turn back, I guess.
Wait a minute. Isn't that a house up on the hill there? Can't quite make it out in the darkness.
Yeah, looks like a house. Yes, it is. No lights and probably deserted.
You can't tell. Some of these big summer houses look weather-beaten.
Okay, might as well.
You may be right about its being deserted. Not a sign of life. Everything's overgrown and the windows are boarded up.
Oh, we're just wasting time, Lois. We might just as well start back.
We're almost up the hill now, and there's just a slim chance that... Shh.
What's the matter?
Shh. Listen. Don't you hear the hum of a motor?
So what? Probably a fishing boat.
No, it's not a boat motor. It's too powerful, like a big electric motor or a dynamo.
Oh, you're imagining things.
No, I'm not. Come on, let's get closer to the house.
Don't move, either of you. I have you covered.
What's this? Who are you? Quiet.
I'm standing directly in front of you, but you cannot see me because of the darkness. My finger is on the trigger of a revolver. I warn you that if you make one move that I don't like, I will shoot you down like dogs. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes, we understand.
Good. Now hold out your hands, palms up. Oh. All right, Hans, put on the bracelet. Get him up.
What is the meaning of this? I demand an explanation.
You will get all the explanation that's coming to you. Lead him into the house with a flashlight, Hans.
Yeah.
And remember, I am following close behind you. Be careful.
Go ahead. You'll pay for this. I'll have the police down on you so fast.
Please, Mr. White, don't lose your head.
The young lady gives you good advice.
Never mind any advice.
Open the door, Hans. Step inside, both of you.
And what if I refuse?
You might get a bullet through the back of your head.
Mr. White, please do as he says.
Close the door, Hans. Lock it. Yeah. Now we will turn on a light and see what we have here. That's better. Well, a very pretty girl and an old man.
Don't you call me an old man. You put that gun down and I'll show you how old I am.
This is not a test for physical strength, my friend. What is your name, young lady?
Lois Lane.
And yours?
It's none of your business. But I'm Perry White, editor of the most powerful newspaper in the state, the Daily Planet.
So, you are the editor of the Daily Planet, huh? How interesting.
We were on our way to the naval base and took the wrong road.
What do you take me for, a fool? Jawohl.
Doktor,
Nun, was ist denn?
wir sind bereit, den Zweiten hineinzubringen. Sollen wir anfangen?
Sofort.
Now, Mr. White, you must have realized the danger of coming here as you did.
But I tell you, we were lost
Quiet.
and we just...
Naturally, neither of you can leave this house alive. There's too much at stake. For the time being, however, you will remain where you are, in this room. Very shortly, you will be joined by an employee of yours.
What are you talking about?
Within less than an hour, you will be joined by a man whom you both must know. A man named Clark Kent.
Trapped in the deserted house high on a cliff overlooking the sea, Lois and Perry White stare at their captor in blank amazement as the vibrant hum of the mysterious motor builds to a frightening pitch. Meanwhile, back on the rescue submarine, suspended 250 feet below the surface, we find Clark Kent and Commander Leeds standing at the escape hatch.
Kid, it would be suicide to go out that hatch now. The water pressure at this depth would crush you flat.
I'm willing to take a chance, Commander. I know I can make it.
Don't be a fool. They'll have divers down here before morning. We can hold out.
It'll be too late then. You remember the last word we got from Captain Denning on Grayson's new submarine? That it was being dragged? Well, that may happen to us at any moment. What good will divers do then?
Oh, I can't think anymore. I don't know.
Commander, there's something behind all this. Something sinister. No natural hazard could trap two submarines at different water levels and prevent them from moving in any direction.
What do you think it is? What do you think stopped the Grayson sub at 350 feet and this one at 250? What could it be?
I don't know. But there's only one way to find out. Through that escape hatch. Please let me try it.
No. No, I can't. We'll be sending a man to his death. I can't do it, I tell you.
Now look, Commander. You and I are alone in the stern compartment of this submarine. The bulkhead door is closed. None of your crew can hear what's going on.
What's that got to do with your going out the escape hatch?
Simply this. I may have to take desperate measures, Commander.
What do you mean?
I may have to force you to let me use the hatch. I don't want to resort to anything so drastic, but... Oh, no, Commander, stay away from that door.
Get you out of your mind. Stand back. I'm ordering you to stand back.
I'm sorry I have to disobey, but this is an emergency. I'll accept full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences there are. Now, which way will it be? With your help or without?
Kent, for the love of Commander Lee.
Lock the door. Please. Tell him you'll be out shortly.
Commander Lee.
Please, Commander. Do as I tell you, please.
I'll be out shortly. Very good, sir.
Thank you. Now, what's your decision, Commander?
You win, Kent. You're a young fool, but I admire your courage. Go ahead.
Thank you, Commander. And now, I want your word as an officer and a gentleman that you'll make no attempt to stop me.
You have my word.
Good. How does the escape hatch work?
It's a steel cylinder running through the stern of the submarine.
Yes?
There are two circular doors. That one you see ahead of you, and one on the outside of the hull.
I see.
You enter the cylinder, and I close the inside door. I then force the hull door open with compressed air, and
I'm out.
Yes, you're out.
All right, let's go.
Now, wait a minute. In that starboard compartment, you'll find a Munson lung.
I won't need it, Commander.
Kent, it's the one chance in a million you've got. How else can you breathe going up through 250 feet of water?
Okay. Is this?
Yes. It fits over your mouth and nose.
Huh?
Be sure to turn the oxygen valve the moment you get into the escape hatch. Put the lung on now. You can keep the mouthpiece up until you're ready.
Yeah. I don't suppose I look very pretty in it.
Don't joke, Kent. Please don't joke.
Well, I'm all set. Open the hatch. Now, I climb in there. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, here goes. Goodbye, Commander. See you soon.
Goodbye, Kent. And good luck. May the Lord forgive thee.
Unaware that Clark Kent is in reality Superman, Commander Leeds stands at the escape hatch as the air pressure builds up and opens the hatch to the sea, certain that he has sent a man to his death. What will Superman find in the darkness of the ocean depths? What is the mystery of the disabled submarines? And two, what is the mystery of the deserted house where Lois and Perry White are held captive?
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Welcome back. Well, you kind of see what I said about subtlety pretty much going out the window with all of the Yavoli, and it will become more obvious. But overall, this is actually just very suspenseful, and some of the best writing we get on the Superman serial. This one's also a pretty tight serial, and we'll actually wrap it up tomorrow. One thing I did want to talk about briefly, we played a couple episodes on the war about Superman now, is how the writers dealt with a couple of problems with Superman. First of all, Clark Kent was of age to go into the service, and certainly would have been subject to the draft. And if America really had Superman on its side in World War II, the end would be wrapped up kind of like the Look magazine story. How did they end up addressing that? Well, the comic strip dealt with Clark Kent going in for his induction exam and him getting distracted during the vision test and reading the eye chart on the wall in the next room, leading the physician to conclude he was blind as a bat. So that's why he didn't end up going in the military. And as to Superman actually going off to fight World War II, there was actually a story in the comic book where Superman took part in war games and the side he was fighting on lost. He delivered a great patriotic oration about the courage of those going overseas to fight, no matter what the odds, and to prevail. Thus, the creators of Superman sought to strike a balance, with Superman providing escapist fantasy and inspiration to people home and abroad without in any way diminishing the real heroes who were laying their lives on the line. Well, that will conclude today's episode of The War. Join us tomorrow for our final excursion of Superman versus the Axis. Well, we're going to wrap up the current Nazi-fighting Superman story, or pseudo-Nazi fighting. So without any further ado, here are the next 4 parts of the Grayson submarine.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman, who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. Trapped in a mysteriously disabled submarine 250 feet below the surface of the water, Clark Kent, against the orders and better judgment of the commander, has gone through the sub's emergency escape hatch to investigate the reason for the submarine being held motionless at this great depth. Unaware that Kent is Superman, the commander is certain he has gone to his death, crushed beyond recognition by the pressure of the water. 5 minutes have passed since Kent entered the escape hatch. Commander Leeds and his first officer are standing at the submarine's control panel. The older man's lined face is pale, and his hand shakes as he passes it across his forehead.
I'm a murderer, Evans. Nothing but a murderer.
You mustn't feel that way, Commander Leeds. You say he insisted and even went as far as to threaten him.
I know, but that's no excuse. What made me do it? Why did I agree to help him commit suicide? Why?
Your life was at stake. That's reason enough. And he was probably insane with fear. I've seen people who thought they were doomed lose their minds.
No, he was as sane as you are, Evans. The last thing he said before I closed the escape hatch was goodbye, see you soon. He joked about wearing a monsoon lung. Said he didn't look very pretty with it on. Evans, I took his life. I killed him as surely as if I'd sent a bullet to his heart. His blood is on my hands.
There's that strange scraping on the hull again, Commander. Seems to be louder now.
His blood is on my hands, Evans.
Commander, something's happening. Look at the depth gauge. We're going up.
What?
Look. 230. 220.
Yes.
210. We're rising.
Start the motors. Hurry.
Engine room. Full speed ahead. Diving officer. Surface at once.
Evans, it's true. We're free.
190. 180.
It's a miracle, Evans. A miracle.
As the submarine planes swiftly toward the surface and freedom, a strange scene is being enacted in a seemingly deserted house high on a cliff overlooking the ocean. With the almost eerie hum of what sounds like a huge dynamo in the background, Lois Lane and Perry White, handcuffed and helpless, are being held captive in a ground floor room. Their captor, a tall, well-groomed foreigner with close-cropped hair, sits opposite them. He glances at his watch, looks up, and smiles faintly.
I see you are getting impatient, Herr White. You will not have long to wait. Is there anything I can get for you, Miss Lane? A glass of wine, perhaps?
No, thank you.
All I want to know is, when does this farce end? When do you get tired of playing games? It is hardly a game, Herr White. No game has stakes so high. Who are you, anyway? What difference does it make?
You know what you sound like to me. One of those dirty...
Be careful, Herr White. I do not take insults lightly.
Oh, please, Mr. White, he's dangerous.
Miss Lane is quite correct. I am dangerous because I am involved in dangerous business. As a matter of fact, I can see no reason for not introducing myself to you. You will never be able to tell anyone in this world that you have met me. My name is Dr. Deutch.
I thought so.
What did you think?
He didn't think anything, did you, Mr. White?
You have heard of me, Herr White?
No, but I know your kind, Deutch. And if you think you can get anywhere in this country, you're crazy. This isn't France or Belgium or Finland. This is America. We like our freedom, and we're going to keep it in spite of rats like you.
Dare you! You will suffer for this, as no man has ever suffered before.
Mr. White, please don't say any more.
He has already said too much. Hans!
Yeah, Doctor.
Hans, I want you to meet the editor of the great Daily Planet newspaper, Herr White. He has just insulted me, Hans.
Wollen Sie...
Nein. That will come later. He may be of use to us. In the meantime, I want you to make him suffer for the insult. You understand?
Yeah, very well.
Take him away.
Oh, no, please, he didn't mean it.
Lois, don't plead with the swine. They don't dare touch me.
We shall see. Take him away.
You don't
Please
have to
don't.
drag me. I'll go. But remember this, Deutch. It doesn't matter what you do with me. There are 100 million more like me in this country, and every one of them hates you and the things you represent. Now remember that, Deutch. Every East American in this country hates...
What?
Too bad he's such a fool, Herr White.
What are you going to do to him?
He will get what he deserves.
But he's not a young man. He's not strong. You're liable to kill him.
That, Miss Lane, is the least.
You're a fiend. Nothing but a fiend.
Those are very unpleasant words, Miss Lane. I would advise you not to use them again. I am extremely sensitive.
Why are you holding us here? What have we done to you?
You have attempted to interfere with my plans. Nothing can do that.
You must believe me. We were lost. All we wanted were directions.
Enough of this farce, Miss Lane. You and Herr White did not come here by accident. You knew somehow that we planned to get our hands on the Grayson submarine. Your innocence is not very convincing, Miss Lane. Tell me, how did you know?
We didn't know. I swear to you we didn't.
You lie. But it doesn't matter. We have the submarine. She lies at anchor in a hidden cove nearby. Shortly, when we have disposed of some other interferers on another submarine, including your friend Clark Kent, you will sail the Grayson ship across the ocean to where it belongs. And you, I think, will have the honor of sailing with it.
Well, no, you can't do that.
Quiet. The power has gone off.
Ja, Doktor.
The power is off. Why is it off?
Die zweite ist uns entkommen.
Dann fahren wir sofort mit dem ersten. Das Befehl geben.
Jawohl.
I'm sorry to have to tell you, Miss Lane, that the submarine carrying Herr Kent has escaped our trap.
under the circumstances, I think it wise to sail at once. You and Herr White will accompany us. In case of difficulty, it will be well for us to have 2 Americans on board.
No, I won't go with you.
You have one of 2 choices, Miss Lane. Either you will accompany us willingly alive, or you will remain behind dead. You see that clock on the mantelpiece? It's about to strike the hour. You must decide before it finishes striking.
With Lois forced to make a decision that will mean disaster in one way or another, the situation looks desperate. Meanwhile, Commander Leeds' submarine, having escaped the trap, is back at the naval base. Clark Kent has been given up for lost. The tragic news travels like wildfire. But even as giant presses pour extras into the street, a strange figure wheels above the city of Metropolis in curious flight. Red cloaks streaming in the night wind, powerful muscles rippling beneath the taut material of his blue costume, Superman hovers over the Daily Planet building, his sharp eyes piercing the darkness. Suddenly, like some giant bird, he plummets to earth, lands on a side street, and steps back into the shadow of a doorway. In a moment, he has assumed the guise of Clark Kent, meek, soft-voiced reporter, and waits as slow, dejected footsteps approach up the street.
Jimmy. Oh.
Jimmy, over here.
Mr. Kent. No, it can't be. I'm seeing things.
Shh, Jimmy, come into the doorway.
You said you were lost. Dad, I heard it on the radio.
Yes, I know. I want everyone to believe I'm lost.
But why did they say it? I was going to quit my job. I didn't want to be a copy boy or a reporter or anything else if you were gone.
You're tops, Jimmy. Now, look, we've got plenty of work to do, so buck up.
Okay, Mr. Kent. Gee, I'm glad to see you. Boy, oh, boy.
Yeah, no gladder than I am to see you. I've been waiting hours for you to come out of the Daily Planet building. Is Mr. White still in his office?
Gosh, no. That's another thing, Mr. Kent. Lois and Mr. White left for the naval base the minute they heard you were trapped on that submarine.
Oh?
That was at 6 o'clock.
Well, it's after 10. They're probably at the base now.
No, they never got there.
What do you mean?
Well, Mr. White's secretary has been calling the naval base every 10 minutes since 8 o'clock. But they never arrived.
That's funny.
Say, what's this all about, Mr. Kent? What happened on that submarine?
It's too long a story to tell you now, Jimmy.
I know most of it. The Grayson submarine went down in a test dive and got stuck at 350 feet. Then another submarine went down after it and got stuck, too. Were you really on that second submarine?
Yes, but neither of them got stuck. They were trapped.
Trapped? Deep in the ocean? What trapped them?
Huge steel nets that closed around them. The Grayson submarine was dragged away before anyone could help it, but the ship I was on got free of the net.
Gosh, Mr. Kent, who put the nets down there? And why?
That's what we have to find out, Jimmy. Who's behind this? The reason for trapping the Grayson sub is pretty obvious. Someone wants to copy its design.
You mean foreign agents?
That's right. Now, look, Jimmy, we're wasting time. I want you to go back to the office and stay there all night if necessary. Try to contact Mr. White and tell him I'm safe, but tell him not to repeat it to a soul. If the people behind all this are as smart as I think they are, they probably knew I was on the second submarine and have heard over the radio that I've been given up for lost. All right, now let's leave it that way. They won't be looking for a dead man. You understand?
Uh-huh. Gosh, you're smart.
Well, let's see how smart I am. All right, get going. I'll contact you if I need anything. So long.
So long, Mr. Kent. Good luck.
I hope he can reach Mr. White before he gets too worried. Funny about their not having gotten to the naval base. Probably had a flat or ran out of gas. I think the only thing for me to do is fly along the coast. That missing submarine must be in the water somewhere. I'll find it.
As Superman, if I have to circle the globe. Up! Up! And away!
Somewhere, the Grayson submarine, pride of America's underseas craft, is in the murderous hands of agents hostile to the democracies of the world. With Lois Lane, Perry White, its designer, and its crew prisoners on board, the sleek steel craft is even now plowing its way out to sea. Can Superman, even with all his amazing powers, find it in the vast darkness of the ocean, or is it destined to fall into the hands of the enemies of peace? There's excitement and danger ahead. Don't miss it.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman. a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman! Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. As you remember, the Grayson submarine, newest and most powerful of the Navy's undersea craft, fell into the hands of a band of foreign agents led by a Dr. Deutch. As a result of stumbling on Deutch's hideout, Lois Lane, star girl reporter of the Daily Planet, and her editor, Perry White, have been taken aboard the submarine as hostages. At the moment, the sleek steel craft, submerged to avoid detection, slips through the sea bound for a foreign port, its captain, designer, and crew unwillingly doing the bidding of Dr. Deutch and his henchmen. We join Walter Grayson, Captain Denning, and Deutch in the control room of the submarine.
I must compliment you, Herr Grayson. You have developed a fighting machine beyond all belief. With this type of submarine, one country can rule the world. Congratulations.
Haven't you already done enough? Not to rub salt in the wounds, or is that just part of your fiendish nature?
I forgive you addressing me in that way only because I realize you are not yourself at the moment, Herr Grayson. But believe me, men have gone to their death for less.
I don't doubt it for a moment.
Captain Denning, you have been strangely silent. Surely you, a naval officer, must be accustomed to things like this. Simply one of the chances of war.
This isn't war. This is dirty, sneaking espionage. This is typical of men without a sense of decency.
Again, I forgive you. But don't go too far. You may drive me to the end of my patience. I told you that no harm will come to anyone on board. We are interested only in the submarine. I have given you my promise that you will simply be held until the war is over.
What do the promises of you and your kind amount to? They've been broken before.
I have heard enough. Hold your tongues, both of you.
Herr Doctor!
Jawohl.
Very fine ship. Lieutenant in Kriegsschiff sein.
Let me see in periscope. Yeah, you are right. I see the lights of a ship off our port bow. You know what might be very interesting, Captain Denning?
I'm sure that anything that might be interesting to you would not be interesting to me.
You are quite right. But I was thinking as I watched the lights of that ship, the torpedo mechanism of this marvelous submarine has not yet been tested, has it?
No! No, in heaven's name, no!
You are pale as a ghost, Herr Grayson.
Denning, do you know what he means? Do you know what he's planning?
Yes, I know.
As you say in English, you are way ahead of me.
Deutch, you can't be that much of a beast. It's impossible.
What are you talking about?
Both Mr. Grayson and I know what you have in mind. You're thinking of trying a torpedo out on that ship.
Strange how you read my thoughts. So, you have objections?
Even animals don't kill for the sheer joy of killing. That ship may be a passenger vessel or a fishing trawler.
It may be a warship, too.
It's doing you no harm.
This is war. In war, you do not wait for the enemy to do you harm. You guard against that by doing him harm first. And I rather like the idea of testing the torpedo.
I would have cut my arms off or blown out my brains if I had known that this submarine would ever be used for such a purpose.
You are hysterical, Herr Grayson.
No, he isn't. He's acting as any normal human being would act under the circumstances. He realizes, as I do, that war is the most inhuman of man's creation.
A very pretty speech, Captain Denning, but very impractical. I'm afraid you will have to stand by and watch me indulge in a little target practice. Fortunately, I have men on board who are experienced torpedo gunners. In this case, I will not require your crew. And you will tell Customs in the torpedo room that we will attempt to sink the ship. I will give the order when we are ready.
Jawohl, Herr Doctor.
It's very interesting to watch a ship through a periscope, knowing that you are safe because you cannot be seen. Very interesting. You wish to look at it, Captain?
No, thank you.
They are approaching it broadside. A good position, isn't it? From what I can tell, it seems like a small ship. One torpedo should probably finish it.
Stand back, Grayson! Stand back, or I'll shoot! You fiend!
You've killed him.
What did you expect? It was my life or his.
He had murder in his eyes. He had gone mad.
You drove him to madness. I don't suppose that's anything new to you either.
Watch yourself, Captain. I am in no humor to be toyed with now. Drag him off to one side.
Drag him yourself. You killed him. Did you hear me? I said...
Lose my temper, or it will go hard with you all. Stand back. I will get rid of him. Make certain, Captain, you do not follow him.
I was just thinking, Deutch, how lucky Grayson is. It's all over for him. He doesn't have to look at your piggish eyes any longer. He doesn't have to breathe the same air you breathe.
Go on. I know what you are trying to do, but it is all wasted on me. Well, we will have another look through the periscope. And don't try the same thing Herr Grayson tried, Captain. This time I will use the butt of the gun. And all you will have for your pains is a headache. We are almost in position. It is a bigger ship than I imagined. I wonder how they are getting along with the torpedo room. I'll find out. Hans, die geht forward. Ja. Ja, gut. All is ready, Captain. You know, there is something exciting about this. Exciting about this. Something that makes your heart race and the blood pound in your veins. It's always that way when you play a game with the stakes of death.
Unfortunately, all your games are one-sided. The cards are stacked.
You will learn, Captain, that is the only sure way of winning. I think the time has come. See here on the control panel a button marked torpedo fire stern tube. That evidence is the one I pressed.
Deutch, listen to me for the last time. Have mercy. You've already killed one man in cold blood. Isn't it enough?
You may have all the mercy, Captain. I shall have the victory. Wait. Seems to be another button to press. What does it say? 30 seconds warning bell. Torpedo fire. I see. That I pressed first. Now the time.
But even as the alarm bell echoes through the submarine, a red-cloaked figure flying high above the jagged coastline stops in midair as his keen eyes discern a car parked at a dead-end road. Like a streak of light, he dives to the ground, landing beside the parked car.
I thought so. Mr. White's car. That means he and Lois must be in that old house up on the cliff. It won't take long to find out. Place looks deserted. What on earth made them stop here? Well, we'll just rip some of these boards off this window and see what's what. There. Now, up over the sill and inside. Black as pitch. Hardly seems like the kind of a place Lois and Mr. White would go out of their way to find. Unless... Wait. Someone moaning? Either that or an animal. I think I'd better investigate. See what's behind this door. Locked. We'll fix that. What? There's a man stretched out on the bed. Bound and gagged. All right, just a second, mister. We'll have you out of this. There, that's better.
I thought I'd never get free.
Who tied you up?
Turn on the light.
Never mind the light. Who tied you up?
It's a long story. I'm the caretaker for this property here.
Yes.
I live up the road a piece. A couple of weeks ago, a man came and wanted to rent it.
Well?
I didn't like his looks. The house had been empty for 3 years, so I let him have it.
Yes, go on.
Well, some people moved in and big trucks drove around the back, but they never took the boarding off the windows. I got suspicious and sort of moseyed around night before last. They caught me and put me in here. I couldn't move, but I could hear everything. They've got a submarine.
What?
Yes, an American submarine. I don't know how they got it, but they sailed away in it, across the ocean.
When did they leave?
Just a couple of hours ago.
Do you know whether a young woman and an elderly man are with them on the submarine?
Yes. Newspaper folk.
That's right.
I heard them talking about it.
And you say they left a couple of hours ago and are headed out to sea?
Yes. They must have forgot about me in the rush.
You're sure the young lady, Miss Lane, and the elderly gentleman were taken along?
I'm sure enough of that. I heard them talking. The man's name was Wright, wasn't it?
White. Terry White.
That's it. I heard him say that he was the editor of a paper. Why don't you turn the light on, mister?
I haven't time now. I've got to go. You'll be all right now, won't you?
Yes, thanks to you.
Then goodbye.
Goodbye, and thanks again.
So they're heading out to sea in the Grayson sub with Lois and Mr. White aboard. I've got to stop them if it's the last thing I do. The 2-hour head start won't bother me, but I wish I knew the direction they took. The Atlantic is a big ocean. Well, no sense guessing about it. Here's the window I came in. I'll find that submarine somehow. Up, and away!
Making use of his amazing ability to leap great distances and fly through the air, Superman streaks out to sea in search of the kidnapped submarine. But even he is unaware that Dr. Deutch is about to test the torpedo mechanism of the new submarine by murderously blasting a ship out of the water. Only a few seconds remain. What will happen? Listen to the next episode for a startling climax.
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. When we last saw Superman, he was streaking out to sea, making use of his amazing power of flight to find the Grayson submarine, stolen by a group of foreign agents and being sailed to a foreign port. On board the underseas craft, in addition to its captain and American crew, are Lois Lane and Perry White, editor of the Daily Planet. At the moment, Dr. Deutch, head of the espionage gang, has submerged the submarine and is about to fire a torpedo at a passing ship, just to test the submarine's firing mechanism. In the control compartment, he holds Captain Denning at gunpoint, while the torpedo-firing alarm bell rings through the steel hull.
Now that the alarm is sounded, all I must do is press this button. The one which says, torpedo fire, stern tube. And that ship will sink like a punctured balloon.
For the love of mercy, Deutch, don't do it. There are innocent people aboard that ship. People who have done you no harm whatsoever.
We are wasting time. I will press the button. Deutch! Too late! It's done. Now.
Whining like a banshee, 2,000 pounds of sudden death catapult from the stern of the submarine and cuts through the water in the direction of the doomed ship, white foam bubbling in its wake. In the all-enveloping darkness, human vision is unable to follow the path of the death-dealing torpedo. But high above the rolling ocean, the eyes of Superman can see the line of white foam trailing the steel fish. For a moment, he hangs in midair, and then, realizing that the torpedo is aimed at the ship moving slowly through the night, Superman dives with the speed of light, landing in the water between the torpedo and its target.
Here she comes, and plenty fast, too. It's big enough to blow that ship in half, but not big enough to... I've got you. Now to turn you upside down and send you to the bottom of the sea. So long. That torpedo must have come from the Grayson sub. No other would fire at an American ship in these waters. You could probably pick it up better from above. No, wait. I can see its periscope dead ahead of me, heading east. I'd better follow it in the air until it comes to the surface. Up, and away!
I am afraid, Captain Denning, that we missed the ship and wasted a torpedo. Too bad.
Either that, or the kindly providence protects decent human beings from madmen like yourself.
I have already told you, Captain, that you are wasting your breath trying to insult me.
least until the submarine lies at anchor at some port in my own country. Then, if you dare open your mouth, you will suffer for it. And order the submarine brought to the surface to proceed at full speed. And bring Kessler here to take the captain to his quarters. One of my men will be here in a moment. Remember, Captain, I have only a small group of assistants on board, but each of them is well trained. Do not attempt anything for which you might be sorry. Now, that is quick. Kessler.
Yup.
You will show Captain Denning to his quarters and remain on guard outside. If he attempts anything you do not consider proper in a prisoner, you are not to kill him. Just render him helpless temporarily. You understand?
Yes, Herr Doctor.
Good night, Captain Denning. Hans, you will remain here. The good captain is not in the best of humor.
Kein Wunder, Herr Doktor.
Speak English, Hans. You ought to be of help to me in the future. You must speak English well.
Ja, Herr Doktor. It's too bad we missed the torpedo, eh?
But not serious. We have the submarine. That is the most important thing. Are we on the surface yet?
Yeah.
Open the conning tower hatch. We will go on deck for a breath of fresh air. Up the ladder, Hans. I will follow you. The air feels good, eh, Hans?
Ja, Doktor.
All the nights are like this, with the sea smooth. We will be home in 6 days.
Ja, in 6 days.
Imagine, Hans, stealing a submarine right from under the very noses. Why, it's unheard of.
Herr Doktor.
What is it?
I heard a strange wind.
There's always wind on the sea. Just think of it, Hans. There will be headlines in the newspapers, and they will decorate
Listen,
us.
Doctor. I hear it again.
Oh, you hear wind. Well, what of it?
What was that?
The submarine rolls. Maybe the hatch is not fastened. It's nothing. Why are you so nervous, Hans?
I will be nervous until we are across the ocean.
What can happen now? Do you think these Americans are smart enough to realize what we have done? No. They are stupid.
Are they?
Who's there?
A stupid American.
Hans, there it is. I can't see.
There! Near the rail!
That gun won't do you any good, my friend. Might as well toss it overboard.
Put your hands up.
Don't make me laugh.
Put them up or I shoot.
Go ahead. See how those bullets bounced off my chest? Well, that's how you're going to bounce right now. So, Americans are stupid, are they? Now, I'll just knock your thick skulls together for good measure. Well, you boys can't take it very well. Both out cold. Well, down the hatch, one at a time. There we are. And I think I'd better follow you and have a look around. This must be the control compartment. All these dials, gauges here. Well, now to find Captain Denning. I'll try this steel door, see what it leads. Like a corridor, a companionway. Wait. There's a man sitting outside a closed door. Not in uniform, so he must be one of a gang. Yeah, it's a good thing that light over his head is yellow and feeble. I'll sneak up behind him. Good evening.
Who are you?
Here's my calling card. That's that. He was probably guarding someone in this compartment. I think it's time to get rid of this cape and costume and become Clark Kent.
There, that's better. I haven't used Kent's high voice in so long it sounds strange. Now, let's see who's in here.
What do you want?
Captain Denning?
Yes?
Hello, Captain Denning.
Now what?
Oh, I'm not one of the gang, Captain. My name is Clark Kent. I'm a reporter on the Daily Planet.
Reporter?
I know it must sound strange, but it's true. Here's my police card.
But how did you get on board? We've been at sea for hours.
Well, I've been trailing this gang of agents. I tracked them down to their hideout, an old house on a cliff. And when they brought this submarine into a hidden cove near the house, I knew something was wrong, so I sneaked on board. I've been lying low ever since.
It's amazing.
How did you get by the gorilla on guard?
Oh, a lucky punch fixed him. Same goes for the two who are on deck. They're sleeping peacefully in the control room.
You mean Dr. Deutch and Hans?
Yes, Hans is one of them. The other is heavy set with a bristling mustache.
Yes, that's Dr. Deutch. He's head of the gang.
Oh.
Kent, we've got to work fast. What you say is true. We can regain control of the submarine. With Deutch, Hans, and Chester out of commission, there are only 4 of the gang left. They locked most of my crew in the stern compartment. Those that are free are operating the submarine at gunpoint. I have 2 revolvers hidden in my locker here. I've been saving them for just such an opportunity. Here you are. Now follow me.
Just a minute, Captain. Before we get mixed up in anything, I'd like to know the whereabouts of 2 friends of mine who are being held on board. Miss Lane and Mr. White?
Oh, they're locked in the stern with my crew. We'll free them later.
Oh, good.
Kent, you certainly flattened this bird on the floor. If Deutch and Hans got the same treatment, they won't be on their feet for a long time. Come on, down this passageway. 2 of the gang are in the engine room and 2 more in the diving control compartment. We'll tackle the engine room first. Quiet now. Right up ahead. You swing the door open and I'll cover them. Here we go. Go ahead. Open it.
Drop those guns and don't move. Listen, boy. Can't look out!
They're looking for a fight, Captain. Let's go.
How's this?
Can't you? You knocked both of them out. Good heavens, man. How'd you dare wade through that hail of bullets? Were you hit?
Oh, not a scratch. Let's get the other 2.
Well, my men here can handle them. Take the guns, boys, and let them have it. They get tough. Come on. First thing we've got to do, Kent, is radio the naval base and tell them we're on our way back at full speed. This is the happiest moment of my life, and I can thank you for it. We're going back, Kent, with the ship intact. We're going back at full speed.
All right, Esther. All right. Just one more shot, Commander Lee. You and Mr. Kent. That's it. Hold it. Thank you.
Kent, I can't begin to tell you how much the Navy appreciates what you've done.
Oh, it was nothing, Commander Leeds. Nothing but good fortune.
And a right hook that would make a monkey out of Joe Lewis.
Well, it's all over now. We've got the submarine and the gang. Captain Denning, where is this man Deutch?
Oh, he and his first assistant Hans are being brought to the detention building by one of our men, Commander.
I think I'd better join Lois and Mr. White, Commander. They're having some coffee.
Commander Leach! Commander Leach!
Yes?
Commander Leach!
What is it?
Those 2 spies. They escaped.
Escape? You mean Deutch and Hans?
Yes, they got away. They're gone.
Well, it looks as though Commander Leeds was a little hasty when he said it was all over. With Dr. Deutch at liberty, it isn't all over by a long shot. Someone is bound to suffer at the criminal hands of the murderous foreign agent. Deutch is out for revenge, and the objects of his revenge are Lois, White, and Kent. What will happen? And where will he strike first?
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine. Presenting the transcription feature, Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Yes, it's Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. Superman who can leap tall buildings at a single bound, race a speeding bullet to its target, bend steel in his bare hands, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice.
And now to our story. Well, it looked for a while as if Dr. Deutch and his gang of spies were going to succeed in their attempt to deliver the Grayson submarine into the hands of a foreign power. The finest undersea boat in the world was well into the Atlantic, but not too far away for Superman. The mighty visitor from the planet Krypton found the submarine and returned it safely to the naval base with its captain and crew unharmed. Dr. Deutch and his accomplice Hans were taken prisoner. And then, just as they were about to face punishment for their crimes, not the least of which was the murder of the submarine's designer, Walter Grayson, they managed to break loose. Dr. Deutch and Hans are free once more to work their evil against peace and freedom. Where will they strike first? At the moment, they are speeding away from the naval base in a stolen car.
Faster, Hans. Faster. By this time, they know we have escaped. They're after us.
Yeah, Herr Doctor, but these roads are dangerous. There are too many curves.
You see?
Don't worry, Hans. This car was built to travel at high speed. It is an official car.
How did it happen to be ready for our escape?
It did not happen, Hans. It was arranged. You will learn in this business, if you live long enough, never to trust to luck.
Who arranged it, Herr Doctor?
We have a very good friend at the naval base. A very good friend. Don't ask me who it is. There are some things even you cannot know.
Ja, Herr Doctor.
Now, turn right at the next crossroad, up ahead.
Where are we going, Herr Doctor?
Back to the old hideout. That's the ocean road.
But we can't do that. They will no doubt be watching for us.
Turn, you fool. Don't ever do that again, Hans. Remember, I give orders. You obey.
Ja, Herr Doctor. But I thought...
You are not supposed to think. Go faster.
May I ask a question, Herr Doctor?
What is it?
Why are we going back to that house on the cliff?
In the first case, Hans, we are not going back to the house.
But where are we going?
Slow down. Now, look along the shoreline of the cove where we had the Grayson submarine anchored.
Yeah?
You see that small shack almost hidden in the woods near the shore?
Yeah, I see it.
That is where we are going. Stupid police will have the house and the cliff guarded, of course. But they will never think to look in the shack.
But what is in the shack, Herr Doctor?
You will see. Turn in this dirt road.
I do not like this, Herr Doctor. We are too close to danger.
Whether or not you like it is of small importance. Have you forgotten that you took the oath to work on the master plan? Have you forgotten that those who took the oath swear that they will make the master plan succeed or die in the attempt?
No, I have not forgotten.
The Grayson submarine was nothing. It is the master plan that counts. The plan to rule the world. Stop the car. We'll walk the rest of the way.
What are we going to do with the car?
I will show you. Get out. Close the door. Turn the front wheels toward the water. Now, get behind here with me and push.
The car will roll into the water, Herr Doctor.
To be precise, Hans, into 30 feet of water.
But what will we do without a car?
Leave that to me. Now, 1, 2, 3, push!
It is rolling. Push. Harder. Yeah. Harder. Yeah.
Now, let it go.
It sinks fast, Herr Doctor.
Yeah, the inside is already filled up.
Now only the top shows.
Yeah, Hans, now she's gone. Not even a bubble.
You'll never find it down there.
You are quite right. The sea hides many things. Now, Hans, I will show you why we have come to this shack. Look over there. What do you see?
A line of telephone posts.
Yes. Marching like soldiers over the hill, eh? Then suddenly, halfway down the hill, the poles stop.
Why, Herr Doctor?
Because from that point on, the telephone wires go underground through a cable. Oh. And that cable, Hans, is directly under the shed. And where do you think those telephone wires come from?
I do not know, Herr Doctor.
From the naval base, Hans. From the naval base.
I am beginning to understand. We will listen in.
Precisely, Hans. We, how do you say it, will tap the wires. We will hear all the conversations. We will see nothing, but we will hear everything.
Wunderbar, Herr Doctor. Wunderbar.
Wait until you have seen what's inside the shack. You will be amazed. Come, Hans, down this path.
Yeah.
No one will possibly suspect this abandoned shack. There are thousands like it all over America. Here we are. Notice how the lock on the door has been hidden. See? It is behind this board.
Excellent, Herr Doctor.
Now I unlock the door.
Herr Doctor, like a laboratory.
Yes, a complete laboratory. Over there, a powerful shortwave sending and receiving set. In that corner, a dark room for developing important photographs we may find it necessary to take. But look over here.
Yeah?
This trapdoor leads to a deep cellar. Help me lift it.
Yeah.
There. Follow me down the ladder, Hans.
Yeah.
Where is that light switch? Here it is.
Wunderbar. A telephone switchboard.
Yes. When we have found the cable, we will tap the wires into the switchboard. Then, Hans, not only can we listen here, but we can transfer the calls if we wish. So come, you're wasting precious time. Here are 2 spades. We must dig for that cable. Come now. Unfortunately, Hans, we were unable to deliver the Grayson submarine. But as I said, that is a small matter. The important thing is the master plan.
Yeah, master plan.
There are people, Hans, who may be in our way. This newspaper reporter, Clark Kent. Possibly his editor.
Even that lame girl.
He must be careful.
Yeah, Herr Doctor.
No matter what, Hans, no matter if it means death, the master plan cannot fail. Think, Hans. Think.
As the two enemies of peace dig for the buried telephone cable that may be a source of important confidential information, Clark Kent and Commander Leeds, head of the naval base, are engaged in conversation in the latter's office when the phone rings.
Excuse me, Kent. Commander Leeds speaking. Yes? Good. Send him right over. Lewis, the Secret Service man assigned to the base, will be here in a few minutes.
Well, how can he help us, Commander? Deutch and his henchmen are gone. It's up to the police to find them.
I know, but there's more to this than appears on the surface. Deutch isn't just a run-of-the-mill spy. He must have an organization behind him. Otherwise, how would he dare try anything like kidnapping the Grayson submarine by encircling it with a huge steel net and dragging it to a hidden cove?
It was daring, all right, and clever. Did you read the report on that house they were operating from?
Yes. They had a 5,000-horsepower motor fed from a dynamo. That's what they used to pull the cable that was attached to the submarine net. They're clever, Kent. Oh, come in, Lewis.
Commander?
Shake hands with Clark Kent.
Glad to know you, Mr. Kent.
How do you do?
Well, Lewis, what have you learned?
Very little, Commander Leeds. I questioned the man who was bringing them from the submarine to the detention pen. He claims he was struck from behind.
How did they manage to get a car, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, an official car with a key in the ignition.
Now, we haven't checked that through yet, but I wouldn't worry about them if I were you, Commander. We'll nail them sooner or later.
But in the meantime, I've got to answer for that escape. You say you questioned the yard officer and he claims someone struck him from behind?
Yes, sir.
Who was that someone?
I suppose we can assume it was either Deutch or Hans.
We can't assume things, Kent. What about it, Lewis?
Well, I don't know, sir, but don't worry ahead about it. Within 24 hours, we'll have them back in the detention pen.
Men like that can do a lot of damage in 24 hours.
It just occurred to me, Commander. Who ordered them taken to the detention pen? It was my understanding you were going to question them first.
That's right. Who did order it? Lewis, do you know?
I thought you issued the order, sir.
I certainly did not.
Well, perhaps it was Captain Denning.
No, I'm sure the yard officer told me Commander Leeds had issued the order.
And I tell you I didn't.
Well, there's one easy way to find out. Ask the yard officer.
I left him in the infirmary getting a scalp wound patched up.
What's his name?
Ensign Carter.
I'll find out who issued that order if it's the last thing I do. Commander Leeds speaking. Locate Ensign Carter, yard officer. Have him report to my office at once. Try the infirmary first.
Of course, you may have forgotten having given the order, Commander. After all, there was a lot of excitement when the Grayson sub came in.
I don't forget things like that, Kent. And anyway, it couldn't have been a verbal order. All detention orders must be made out on a specified form and signed by an officer.
Well, what difference does it make who issued the order?
It may not make any difference to you, Lewis. You're a civilian government employee. You can't appreciate the necessity of maintaining strict supervision of the armed forces. That must be the yard officer now. Come in. At ease, Ensign. Close the door. How do you feel?
Not too bad, sir. Outside of a headache.
You may have a chair.
Thank you, sir.
I have a few questions I'd like to ask you, Mr. Carter. I'll try not to keep you too long since you've gone through quite an ordeal.
That's quite all right, sir.
Tell me, Mr. Carter, who delivered the two prisoners to you for transportation to the detention pen?
Lieutenant Evans, sir. He was aboard the submarine and delivered both men, handcuffed.
Are you sure they were handcuffed?
Why, yes.
Just a minute, Kent. We'll come to that later. You know, of course, Mr. Carter, that incarceration in the detention pen cannot be made without a written order signed by an executive officer.
I know that, sir.
Oh, you do? Then who signed the order for the two prisoners?
Why, you did, sir.
What?
I told you.
Now, hold on. Ensign, do you mean to sit there and tell me that I signed an order to remove those men from the submarine to the detention cell?
Yes, sir.
Where is the order?
I have it here in my pocket, sir. This is it.
Let me see that.
Well, I'll be... Kent, I would have sworn I never issued this.
But that's my signature, all right.
May I see it a moment, Commander?
No doubt about it. I must be getting old, suffering from lapse of memory. What are you doing, Kent?
Looking at it through a magnifying glass.
Oh, it's my signature. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, I'm afraid I'll have to disagree with you, Commander Leeds. This is a tracing of your signature. Mr. Lewis, take a look at it.
Kent, are you trying to tell me...
You've guessed it, Commander. There's a traitor right here at the naval base. Someone who forged your signature to free those two foreign agents. Possibly one of your own men.
Is Clark Kent right? Was Commander Leeds' signature forged on the detention order? If it was, who is the traitor? And how long can he work hand in hand with Dr. Deutch and his gang before being exposed?
Don't forget, tune in again for the next thrilling episode with Superman.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman. Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
Welcome back. Well, the Nazis in this story were not very thinly disguised. In fact, I thought that one point where Dr. Deutch hit White, he was going to say, "You fool, you're not supposed to mention that we're Nazis." At this point, even though America was taking more steps towards Great Britain, it still was not something you would discuss on the radio or even in the comics until after war was declared. In Superman and other comics by DC, the whole notion of fighting the Nazis, it was disguised with a dictator, somebody from a foreign power. Of course, that wasn't true at all other comic book companies. Over at Timely Comics, which was the predecessor to the modern-day Marvel Comics, they released the character of Captain America. And what a lot of people don't realize about Captain America is that he was created before America got into the war in Germany. And on the cover of the very first issue of Captain America Comics, it features Captain America hitting Adolf Hitler right in the nose. And Captain America wasn't the only timely character to take on the Nazis. Probably the first one was Namor the Submariner, but once the war started in earnest, everyone got in on the act. They had one character called the Destroyer, who managed to defeat not only Hitler, but Hitler's tag team partner in the comic, Satan. And Timely wasn't alone in fighting the Nazis. Even while there were printing restrictions and shortages on paper, a slew of comic book companies proliferated, with legions of forgotten superheroes, from companies like Ace, Centaur, Chester, Fawcett, Fox Feature, Harvey, Lev Gleason, and Quality. You had all sorts of patriotic heroes taking on the Axis. None were as powerful as Superman, so they didn't really have that same challenge of creating a situation where their character should just be automatically able to beat the whole Axis. But all presented the same thing. It was definitely escapism from a really scary world, where Superman, the Human Torch, Daredevil, or Captain Marvel took care of the bad guys for us, while also providing an example of courage and determination to face the challenges of the real world. It's not a surprise, then, that after the war, many of these characters folded. And really, the characters who had their own title books, the only one to survive past the early 50s, were Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. All right, well, that will do it for today. Join us on Monday when we'll continue our pre-war build-up, and then we'll take a little bit of a break for Thanksgiving with some Thanksgiving-related episodes, and we'll bring you something special next Friday. As America continued to increase its support and sympathy for the Allies, radio continued to challenge the Nazis and the Axis powers. Not every attack on the Axis was as blatant as the Superman serial we listened to last week. Some could be quite subtle and of extremely high quality, particularly if the author was the man that many consider to be radio's poet laureate, Norman Corwin. Corwin, in 1941, was in the midst of great success. He had had his work featured on the Columbia Workshop, which opened itself up to new voices, new stories, and new approaches to radio. And he became so popular, he had a chance to take over the Columbia Workshop for 26 weeks. 26 weeks in which he would produce and write each week's story. Series, one of radio's most beloved and highest quality programs, 26 by Corwin. We're going to play 3 episodes from that series on the war. 2 are very directly relevant to it. This first episode may seem an odd choice at first. In the midst of the series, Corwin decided to do a trilogy of stories from the Old Testament. And this is the second story in that trilogy. And the listener may wonder what exactly a story from the Bible has to do with Nazi Germany. Well, you'll find out today. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the Columbia Workshop presentation of the Old Testament Trilogy Part 2, dated August the 17th, 1941.
Esther, a new biblical opera by Lynn Murray and Norman Corwin, presented as number 15 in the Columbia Workshop cycle, 26 by Corwin, and featuring Martin Gable, Arnold Morse, Everett Sloan, Joan Vitez, and Winston O'Keefe.
Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus
who reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces, I do hereby proclaim this year of my reign the biggest feast ever seen in the East. For 6 months we'll make merry and let workers stay alone and sing and dance and celebrate the glory of the throne.
And there was a big feast in Shushan.
There was a big feast in Shushan, left the shag in Shushan, they chewed the rag in Shushan, they served gold dishes in Shushan, they drank like fishes in Shushan, oh Shushan, Shushan, Shushan.
When the heart of the king was merry with wine, and he was in his cups and he was feeling fine, 4 sheets to the wind and under the weather, he called his 7 chamberlains together.
Now, gentlemen, where's Her Imperial Majesty, Queen Vashti? Vashti is giving a party in the royal house for women only. Oh, yes? Well, bring her here to me. Yes, right away, Your Majesty. Yes, right away, Your Majesty. Yes, right away, Your Majesty.
Now, Vashti, she was spirited and highly independent. Of purple-blooded Persians, a proud descendant. Her bearing it was regal, and her attitude was bold. And when the chamberlains arrived, her compliments were cold.
What do you want?
His Imperial Majesty requests the presence of Her Imperial Majesty at the feast in the garden of the court of the palace.
Oh, he does he? Tell him I'm busy with my own guests.
But, Madam...
Annoy me no further. I refuse to go with you.
But, Your Highness...
Did you hear me?
Yes, Your Imperial Majesty.
Very well. Now get out.
Name you can.
Yes, Your Majesty.
You are reputed to be the sagest of the 7 princes of Persia.
Yes, Your Majesty.
That is why I sent for you. I need your advice.
Yes, Your Majesty. You are a very wise fellow, Memucan. If you can't advise me, who can? Nobody. The Queen has disobeyed an imperial command. She has broken with tradition. She has gotten out of hand. So how am I to act now? What conclusions do you draw? What can we do unto the Queen according to the law? Sire, in my opinion, Vashti the Queen has wronged not only the king, but also the princes and all the people in the provinces. For this deed of the queen will be noised among the wives, and they'll despise their husbands all the rest of their lives. Likewise shall all the ladies scorn the princes of the sire. I fear the low example will arouse contempt and ire.
What to do about it?
Let a law be written by which Vashti might be smitten by the loss of her royal estate. Then choose another queen who is not so mean. That's a fine
Great! Scribe, take a decree.
Yes, Your Majesty.
I, Ahasuerus, decree that Queen Vashti shall be deprived of her royal estate for just and good causes, and that every man in my kingdom shall bear rule in his own house. And so the queen was divorced, and Ahasuerus was alone in the palace, and he was very lonely.
What matters come? What matters glory? What matters riches of song and story? What matters my kingdom? What matters my throne, so long as I'm alone?
Then said the king's servant that ministered unto him,
Sire, we have a suggestion.
What is it?
Let the king appoint officers in all the provinces that they may gather together fair young maidens into Shushan the palace. And let the maiden which pleases the king be queen instead of Vashti.
Let it be done.
What matters come? What matters glory? What matters laws that are written down? What matter at all? What does anything mean? So long as I have no
Now in Shushan there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai. And he brought up Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. The maid was fair and beautiful. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house. And Esther showed not her people or her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. So Esther went into the royal house of Ahasuerus. What is your name?
My name is Esther.
It is a pretty name,
Thank you, Your Majesty.
and very becoming. Sit beside me, Esther. You're very beautiful. Of what family are you?
A common family. My father was abbot here.
And of what people are you?
An ancient people.
How ancient?
Ancient as Persia.
Esther, do you think you could love the emperor of 127 provinces, king of the Persians, king of the Medes?
Yes.
But what do you know about love, little Esther? loved Esther above all, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. But then came Haman. Haman was a wicked man, but all the servants in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had promoted him above all the princes. Only Mordecai bowed not. When Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, he was full of wrath.
Who is that dog of a dog who will not bow down to me?
That, Your Excellency, is Mordecai, the Jew.
All others bow to me. He alone remains standing in the gate. I'll see about that. You, Mordecai, down on your knees.
Well, down, Jew. Haman has spoken.
I bow only to God.
Down, you fool!
You've had my answer.
You'll die for this, cursed old man.
Why do you refuse to bow, you swine?
Yes. Speak up, Graybeard. Answer the Grand Vizier.
I will not bow down to a man on a horse. I will not bow down to a crown. I will never yield to a tyrant's force, though I burn or hang or drown. I will never worship a grand vizier, or his sons, or his nephews, or nieces. There's only one ruler whom I fear, though I be chopped in 1,000 pieces. I will not kiss the earth that you have trod, though I be whipped all day for it. I will bow down only to the living God, so death be the price I pay for it.
Shall I arrest this man, Your Excellency?
No, don't contaminate yourself. I have a better plan in mind for dealing with Mordecai and his kind. Come along, Captain. Scribe, come here.
Yes, Your Excellency.
Set this down. To the king's lieutenants and to the governors and the rulers of every people of every province, and order as follows. To destroy, to kill, to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women in one day. The 15th day of the 12th month, and to take the spoil of them for a prey.
Very well.
Inscribe this order immediately and return to me here. Thus shall I avenge the insult of Mordecai. He and his people shall perish as one.
The best way to bolster authority is to bully a small minority. I shall slay with the sword all those I hate. They'll grovel in the dirt before Haman the great. On the scattered and the few will my wrath be hurled, and I'll seize the crown and conquer the world. I'll begin by making a scapegoat race, then garden my smoke and quicken my pace. Oh, the best way to bolster authority is to bully a small minority. I'll rule with iron every Persian and Mede. I'll make them sweat and I'll make them bleed. With gross and poisonous lies I'll feed 'em and hold in my grip all life and freedom. I'll begin by making a scapegoat race and kill them off without a trace.
Mordecai,
Be quiet. Listen.
what are you doing inside the palace? You'll be killed if you're found here.
That's why I must speak quickly. Did you get my message about Haman's decree to massacre the Jews?
What's to be done?
Esther, you must go into the king and make supplication to him in behalf of your people.
But don't you know the law? Whoever goes into the king without being called shall be put to death.
Except such to whom the king shall hold out the golden scepter.
But I've not been called to come into the king for the past 30 days.
Esther, don't think that you shall escape in the king's house any more than the rest of your people. For if you altogether hold your peace now, then deliverance shall arise from another place. But you and your father's house shall be destroyed. Who knows but what you are come to the kingdom for just such a time as this?
Very well. I will go unto the king, which is not according to law. And if I perish, I perish.
Where are the proclamations awaiting my seal?
Here, Your Majesty.
Very well. And while I seal these with the king's ring, go tell Memucan, who stands with Haman, that I would have a word with him.
Yes, sire. Your Excellency.
Yes?
His Majesty the King requests that you consult with him as soon as...
Wait a moment. I believe my eyes. Is that Queen Esther standing here in the court, though not called by the king?
Why, this is a grave transgression of the law.
Punishable by death unless the king holds forth his scepter.
Quiet, the king must be.
Queen Esther,
May it please the king?
come. Touch the scepter which I hold forth.
My sire,
What is your request, Queen Esther?
if it please the king to grant my petition, let the king and Haman come tomorrow to a banquet which I've prepared for them.
Is that all? Let it be done, Queen Esther, and let Haman be so advised.
The queen has invited nobody to the banquet but myself and the king. Why, this is the greatest honor that has ever been bestowed upon any man in the kingdom. But it avails me nothing so long as I see Mordecai sitting at the king's gate. Mordecai who will not bow down to me, though the rest of Shushan kiss the dirt under my feet. I believe I shall hang the knave. I will build a gallows today, 50 cubits high, here before my own house, so that I may see it. And tomorrow I will petition the king that Mordecai be hanged. Yes, but first to build the gallows.
On that night, the king could not sleep, and he commanded to bring the books of the records of the chronicles, and they were read before the king.
In the 8th year of the reign of Ahasuerus, 2 of the king's chamberlains sought to lay hands upon the king to murder him. But the thing was known to a man named Mordecai, who told it to the officers of the king. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out, and therefore the criminals were hanged. And on the 8th day...
Just a moment. I don't even remember this thing. What honor has been done Mordecai for making known the plot against me?
Nothing was done for him.
Nothing? Who's in the court right now?
Haman to petition the king concerning the hanging of a citizen of Shushan.
Tell him come in.
Yes, Your Majesty.
And unkindness has been done unto Mordecai. His service to the throne should have been acknowledged long before this. But for his vigilance, I might be dead.
May it please the king, the Grand Vizier.
Haman, a question.
Yes, Your Majesty.
What shall be done to a man whom the king delights to honor?
A man whom the king delights to honor. For the man whom the king delights to honor, bring the royal apparel which the king wears, and the horse which the king rides, and the crown which is set upon his head. Let one of the king's most noble princes array the man withal, and bring him on horseback through the city, and proclaim before him, thus shall it be done. The man whom the king delights to honor.
Very good, Haman. Now make haste and take the apparel and the horse as you have suggested, and do so to Mordecai, who sits at the gate. Don't overlook anything you've suggested.
So Haman had to honor Mordecai according to his own device. And after that, he went to the banquet with the king and Esther the queen.
Now, what is the petition you've saved up for this banquet, Queen Esther?
If I found favor in your sight, and if I pleased the king,
Yes?
then spare my life and spare my people's.
Spare your life, your people. What do you mean, Queen Esther?
We are sold, I and my people.
Sold? By what enemy of the king would kill the queen? Who is he and where is he that dares presume in his heart to do so?
He is with us, and his name is Haman. He has issued a decree to massacre the Jews who are my people.
No, it is not
the
I.
adversary and the enemy. It is this very man.
Haman, have you perverted the command I entrusted unto you because I believed in the wisdom of your counsel?
No, Your Majesty. Allow me to explain.
Why do you stammer so?
The matter is not what it seems, Your Majesty.
I have rung for the Chamberlain Harbona. We will make inquisition whether you lie against the word of the Queen.
But, Your Majesty, if it please the king,
Harbona, apprehend this man. He has conspired to destroy the Queen and her people.
I am innocent of this. Bear witness for me, Chamberlain.
What do you know of this, Harbona?
I know only that the Grand Vizier has lately built a gallows 50 cubits high for Mordecai.
For Mordecai? Where is this gallows? That would prove enough.
It stands in the house of Haman.
Is that so, Haman?
Yes, but you see, it was...
Harbona! Has he written to reverse the letters devised by Haman to destroy these people?
Your Majesty!
Let it be granted that these people gather themselves together and stand for their life to destroy those who attacked them on the 13th day of the 12th month. Let it be known that they should be ready on that day to avenge themselves on their enemies.
Yes, Your Majesty.
And as for Haman, take him away. Cover up his face and hang him on the gallows he prepared in his house.
No, Your Majesty, no.
And Haman stood upon the gallows.
Haman stood upon the gallows he built in his own house, wherewith to hang Mordecai.
And they hanged Haman on the gallows.
Let this be a lesson to vain men who lust for limitless power. Let this notify profane men that there comes a reckoning hour. Let this point a moral that the only truce with a traitor and tyrant is a gallows noose.
Let this be a lesson to great men who rule and command and lead. Never trust in men who hate men because of their race or creed. Let this point a moral that the only truth with a bully and a bigot is a gallows noose. Let this
The king took off his ring, which he had taken from Haman, and gave it to Mordecai. And Esther the queen enjoined her people to establish among them the month which was turned unto them from mourning into a good day, that they should make days of feasting and joy. All these acts, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Media and Persia?
That was Esther, a new opera by Lynn Murray and Norman Corwin, presented as the second in the Old Testament trilogy. The role of Esther was sung by Genevieve Rowe, that of Ahasuerus by Harrison Knox, Mordecai by Eugene Lowenthal, and Haman by Kenneth Schoen. Next week at this same time, Columbia will present Charles Lawton in a literal adaptation of the Book of Job as the last of the Old Testament trilogy, for which production Dean Taylor has composed a special score, his first for radio. This is the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Welcome back. Clearly, with so many of the lines of dialogue used in this story, Corwin was painting a picture, and I think a quite accurate one, of Haman as an ancient Persian Hitler. This was particularly noteworthy, and one change Corwin made. There were a few licenses in the story, but the one that most stands out to me is Corwin ascribing a motive of world domination to Haman, which could not at all be inferred from the biblical text. It serves Corwin's purpose of creating a parallel of how Haman sought to destroy the Jewish people and was brought to ruin and defeat, just as Hitler would be brought to ruin and defeat. Overall, a great story and very well produced, and we will definitely hear from Mr. Corwin again. Well, folks, tomorrow we're going to take a slight break from our march to war and take a listen to an episode of Command Performance that was recorded during World wartime, as we take a look at Thanksgiving during the war over these next 3 days, and then we'll pick up our pre-war theme on Friday. In the meantime, send your comments to box13 at greatdetectives.net. If you would like to share your experience or that of a loved one during World War II, please email your stories to box13 at greatdetectives.net. We'll consider all stories to be shared on the air. We also welcome your suggestion as to future programs. This program is dedicated to those who fought and died in World War II and is presented as a service of the Great Detectives of Old Time Radio, greatdetectives.net. The opening theme is The Heroic by Ken Curlin, kencurlin.com. I hope you've enjoyed these compilations from the war. We will be doing more compilations in a few months, and of course we will have our second Christmas compilation around the holidays. If you don't want to wait, you can check out all of the episodes of War on our complete series playlist, which we have listed in the show notes. However, rest assured that other compilations are planned for the future. In the meantime, from Boise, Idaho, this is your host, Adam Graham, signing off.